Booyah! We are live and in effect with nobody waiting at the deck to join in the festivities so far today on the Wednesday evening. Everybody's welcome live stream for the members of the channel and the peasants. I got some things to share, but I'm not really going to get started until somebody shows up. I know y'all be watching I definitely know y'all watch the replay because the numbers improved a lot on these streams after the fact. You know, the OGs, the people who've been hanging out here since the first day. I know some of you just tune in after the fact. You know, I don't expect anybody to like dedicate their life to a YouTube channel and these streams go 3 hours. I plan on them being 3 hours now just because it ends up that's what they ended up being when I started. And it just kind of allows us to talk and hang out and shift direction, pick a deep topic and just kind of dive in, and everybody else can make their what do you want to call it? Their whatnot, and let me see, where are we at? Oh, that's the one. That's perfect. No. All right. Oh, we got 3 people in the house. Now we can start to talk. And all right. So I don't know who's in the house. I wish it would give me a list of like who's in the chat. Not or like who's on the channel, but keeping their mouth shut just so I can say hi to all of you, but it's all good. We got 3 people up in the house, and I don't even know where to begin. I'm waiting for someone specific to show up to talk about one thing. But in the meantime, let's just jump in. If you're here for the main topic of the show today, that usually takes place after about half an hour or so of chit chat because, we're waiting for people to show up. I know people are fashionably late. When the meeting is set for 6 o'clock, the meeting should begin at 6 o'clock, but I'm a little bit more chill when it comes to that. So I'm going to hold back the main topic of the episode today until we get until the OGs show up. But I've got plenty of stuff to talk about. I do have unfortunately I do have a little bit of shitty news to share with everybody today. I went grocery shopping last night, and this is something that I've been noticing for a bit. Just weird shortages, food shortages. And just it's not like you can go to the grocery store and not be able to buy food, but weird things keep popping up as completely out of stock at multiple stores at once. And I've been noticing this for months. Random things. Yesterday, yogurt the nation's supply of yogurt is running out, I guess. They had plenty of yogurt, but there were signs all over the place saying nationwide no yogurt shortage or something coming up, so get it while you can. And they were out of certain things, but I mean, I was able to get yogurt, but there are all these signs everywhere basically saying you got yogurt. Good for you. You might not be getting it anymore. I don't know. Let me know in the chat if you guys have noticed weird, random things just vanishing from the stores all at once. And it doesn't matter what store you go to. A few weeks back, I wanted baby carrots, just the pre-cut, easy to grab and eat a snack carrots. And the grocery store was completely wiped out of carrots. Not just one store, but more than one. No carrots. Like, well, we only have one carrot farm in the United States now where all the carrots come from. And if that farm. If something happens to that farm, we're done. No more. Yeah, what's up, Doc? Bugs Bunny's going to be pissed off. That's for sure. No carrots. They did have whole carrots. That and I had to get a peeler because I didn't even have a peeler. Um, but that's a little bit more work than I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I got to peel these carrots and cut them up, but I mean they do stay fresher longer, but that they were wiped out of carrots, wiped out of cabbages. One day I go into the grocery store, no cabbage of any kind. Cabbage, for crying out loud. Random things like that. And as I'm walking up and down the aisles last night, just random things completely wiped out. Or some of the aisles last night, for no reason at all, looked like the shelves looked during the 2020 COVID scam apocalypse, when everybody when everybody raced to the grocery store to buy up all the toilet paper and all the food. And the grocery stores were completely bare shelved by the end of the day. And I remember I took my son to we went to 20 different grocery stores, picked him up at 3 in the afternoon, and we went to 20 different grocery stores from 3 in the afternoon all the way until 11 o'clock at night. Because he was young. He was he was 9 years old, 10 years old at the time. I don't remember. But that was a field trip of this is why you got to be prepared when you're a grown up. This is why you always got to have food in the house and things like that. This could happen at any time for any reason. We live in this illusion of society that the grocery store is always full and always plentiful. But all it takes is a storm. And poof, 1 hour later, all the grocery stores in town are bare shelves. We had a cold day in Texas. It was 20 degrees for one day. But leading up to that one day, people lost their minds here. And the grocery stores, I've got photos of it. The grocery stores were completely bare. I went to the grocery store with a list. I couldn't even get half the items on my list. I made do. I wasn't I can wing it. I can adapt. But the things I really wanted were gone. Produce, gone. All fresh food was gone. It was all frozen and whatnot. Let's see. Michelle Parker, C1B. Hello. Do you know Nick Carter? Is that some celebrity or something? Is this a troll? I can't tell yet. Well, somebody keep an eye on this one. Oddball, what's up? Channel member. Maybe it's because of the class action lawsuit on Chobani yogurt due to elevated late levels. Yeah, I don't know, man. I got enough yogurt, and I bought bigger tubs of yogurt. I've been dabbling with yogurt as part of my trying to figure out how to eat healthy routine, even though all I really like is junk food and meat. Basically anything bad for you, put it in my mouth. I'm good. I love it. Anything good for you, no, stay away. I don't like it. But I'm trying to lose weight. I just had to buy bicycle shorts. And when I looked at the size chart, it was a new brand of bicycle short. And I'm like, I better measure my waist. I got one of these things, right? Better measure my waist. Better measure my leg circumference and all that, just to get an idea of which shorts to buy. And I did not, my measurements were too big for the biggest size they offered. They had large, extra large, extra, extra large, and extra, extra, extra large. And I'm like, get out of here. Extra, extra, extra large, 3 X's. That's not right. But I ordered them and thinking, oh, I'll order them, but they're probably just going to fall off and be all loose and not, bicycle shorts. And I put these things on and they fit like a glove. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. That's the first time I've had more than one X on a piece of clothing that I've put on my body. And not, I went from XL to XXXL like that. Like I'm in porn star territory, technically speaking, triple X, XXX. I'm rated XXX now. Extra, extra, extra large. That could actually work in my favor if I wanted to get into the industry, but oh, it's so embarrassing. But the mirror doesn't lie when I go to the gym, especially at yoga class, I'm doing the warrior pose and I look in the mirror and I'm like, "Oh God, that big thing hanging out the front of my body is like I'm trying to suck it in, because I'm in the class with all these girls in yoga pants. I don't want to look like a fat piece of crap, but here I am. Can't hide it. You can't hide that at all. Not at yoga class, like there's nothing. It all comes out. But whatever. I mean, I'm getting stronger. I'm not completely out of the game. I just got to make some adjustments and figure it out. I'll get there. But that's where I'm stuck right now. And in terms of the workouts, I'm on like week 11 with working out regularly. And I have not lost a pound. I've gone kind of up and down a 5-pound range, and then I started tracking my calories and I am mostly eating a deficit, but I had a bad night last night after the grocery store. It was so late and I was so hungry. There was only one shitty place to go eat unless I wanted to make something when I got home, and I did not pick up something from the grocery. I should have just went and got something out of the prepared food section, but I didn't. And I'm telling you, one bag of McNasties can undo 6 months of the gym in one shot. I'm telling you, that stuff is that's all. I did it, but it was the only place I could go and just sit in the car and get a bag of food handed to me. So, oh God, can't do that again. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of it. It's like I don't even want to admit it, but I'm admitting it to the whole world. I'm sharing my struggles. But I told you I had some shitty news. I got the shitty. Let me read some more comments. Blue Sky, what's up? OG in the house. XXXL. Think Vin Diesel. No, it's more like Ron Jeremy. Big, from the neck up, I might look all right. But when I go to the gym, I'm there for 3-4 hours. I'll do you a rundown of what my routine will be this week. 25-mile bicycle ride to the bakery, followed by from 8:30 in the morning till about 2 in the afternoon, lifting flour and sugar bags that weigh 50 pounds each and doing all that kind of stuff. And then for the rest of the day, climbing up on ladders and cleaning out ceiling vents and stuff like that. And just work. Then getting on the bicycle and riding another 25 miles to get home at records. It was my fastest bike ride since I've moved to Houston. My average speed was 17. That was my average. My top, I was over 27 miles an hour for long stretches of that ride, and I broke 9 personal records on my way home from the bakery on a route that I ride regularly. And all of a sudden, I was so fast on my way home on Monday that I set 9 personal records. One of them was a minute and a half faster than my fastest time ever, because I was flying. And it's the yoga and the other workouts, and spin class helps, but it's the variety of exercise that unlocked more speed and stuff on the bicycle. But losing 40 pounds, which is my goal for this year, which I have not lost a single pound of it yet. Not having to carry a Huffy bicycle in my belly in the form of that much weight. Take a 40-pound backpack, go on a bicycle ride for an hour, see how fast you go. then do it again a week later without the 40 pounds on your back, and then see how much faster you are. That's the difference it makes. And so oh my God, if I lost 40 pounds, I could throw down, I could race, I could actually beat some people, I could beat some kids. So that's Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday this week, I'm taking off. Then tomorrow, I'll go to the gym. I'll do 45 minutes on the rowing machine, an hour-long spinning class. I'll do a little bit of weightlifting. I've got a couple of exercises that I do regularly with the weights, mostly to try and fix anterior pelvic tilt and also fix my broken back and also work on the core. Whatever I got time between, because then I go to yoga class for an hour. And then after yoga class, I'm done. That's it. You don't want to do anything after that. I go straight to the sauna, the hot tub, chill, take a nice full shower. I'm like doing it all now. I shave in the shower. I basically treat it like I got a hot date after the gym and just kind of do the whole thing. Like, you might look at me like, brushing my teeth and everything after my shower at the gym. You might look like I'm a homeless guy, right? Like homeless people go to Planet Fitness to use the showers and stuff. That's kind of how I'm doing it. But I treat it like a full on thing. So I'll do that tomorrow. Friday, I'll go on a 7-mile hike. And if Alex in Analog shows up to the house, say what's up in the chat, because I got a shout out for that brother. But anyway, I'm going on a 7-mile hike on Friday. And usually I leave my house and go to the park at the end of the street, do a 5-mile loop, and it's a mile there and back. Give or take. The GPS comes up with a different number every time I do it, but it's generally 6.5 to 7. And then Saturday, I'll be at the gym at like 8 in the morning when they open. Rowing machine spin class, weightlifting, yoga. So that'll be my routine for the week. And that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. Now, the following week, I'm skipping the bicycle ride next Monday to the bakery. I've already made up my mind. I'm out of clothes to change into. And they're calling for rain, but I could look right now and kind of see as I talk, but the weather they're calling for is, it just kind of like, I just made up my mind for sure not to ride my bike this Monday to the bakery so that I can change out the stuff in my locker, take a good supply of cold brew coffee that I leave in the fridge there. And that's for everybody there. It's not just for me. Anybody there can have at it. So I take a good supply. I'm going to take like a gallon and a half, probably. Monday, now they're calling again for morning showers on Monday, but good temperature. But, it just seems like a good day. Restock my locker there with a bunch of fresh clothes, 3 weeks worth of clothes to change into and all that. I've gotten it down to where I don't carry a backpack now when I do the bicycle ride to and from. I just have a little frame mounted bag that I can stash a bunch of stuff in and take that. And it's nice. That's also part of the reason why my times are faster, but it's, it really boils down. The yoga is probably the biggest contributor, getting my hips loosened up, and some of the, like the psoas muscle, your hip flexors and all that kind of stuff gets super, super tight when you're a nonstop cyclist. And I see it when I'm at yoga. There's certain poses I cannot do. And, yoga will tell one yoga class will tell you what's up with your crooked ass body. Nothing you do will show you what's wrong with your body and what areas you're weak and what areas you're strong and what areas where you're flexible and what areas where you're not, than going to a yoga class. It's just nothing else. And yoga is great. It's everything. You get the same thing that you would get from lifting weights, stretching. It cracks your back, like going to the chiropractor. You do certain poses, it actually massages your body. Like it's like all in one. If you can only do one thing, do yoga. I always say that. Nothing will help you more. I mean, there's this one girl who shows up to the yoga class. She's a little bit thick. She doesn't look like she'd be good at yoga. I'm just gonna say that. Looks. Don't judge a book by its cover. They say this girl can do a full split. She does all these poses, and I'm looking at her. I'm like, holy fuck, man! How the you wouldn't? And then the skinny girls can't do any of it. And so don't just because a girl looks good in a pair of yoga pants don't mean she can actually do the pose. But me, Saturday morning was actually a surprise. There were like 6 dudes and 2 girls in the class. And I was like, yo, nice. I don't have to feel like the creepy guy in the van with no windows sitting outside the playground that says free candy on the side of the van, showing up to yoga class, being the only guy surrounded by hot chicks in yoga pants today. Woo! Nice. It was a little bit more comfortable. So, but I got no shame, so whatever. But back to the news. I was saying there's a lot of shortages at the store. Random things coming up short. Empty shelves for no reason. Apparently no reason. Just random things on my grocery list. Nothing. And it's just there's no rhyme or reason to it. Just random shortages. But I've been noticing this for months, ever since that winter storm. But the shittiest news of all, let me share my screen here. The shittiest news of all is an employee started a massive fire at a gigantic California toilet paper warehouse. So half of the nation's toilet paper supply just went up in smoke. And so we might be seeing toilet paper shortages, the likes of which we saw back in 2020, when everybody had to go find a couple of leaves outside or find an old crappy shirt that you don't wear anymore and make some squares out of it. Like whatever you had to do to get your dump on back in 2020, we might be doing it again. Kimberly Clark warehouse employee arrested on arson charges. I mean, it is a shitty job. Working at the toilet paper factory is definitely a shitty job. So I kind of feel for the guy, but he's been arrested on arson charges after a massive fire broke out Tuesday morning at a California distribution center that serves around 50 million people. 50 million people are going to have dirty bungholes now because of this guy. And I'm just like, wow, man. I just think, for me, I believe because, business is always, maybe he got paid off by the big bidet cartel. Maybe the big bidet companies are making a move to squeeze out the toilet paper supply so that more people will buy a bidet for their house. And I think it makes sense. Like, maybe it's just time, people. Like, so I tell people this all the time because toilet paper is like so primitive. Like, I don't even understand how we have all this technology. I mean, they just, supposedly sent a bunch of astronauts to go fly around the moon this week. Yeah. Oh yeah. Anything to take people's mind off the Epstein files, I guess. But anyway, we got the technology to send some people to go on a joyride around the moon, but we're still wiping our ass with a sheet of paper when you take a dump. Like, what's up with this? Why hasn't that evolved? According to the movie, not Total Recall, what was it? Demolition Man. We should at least have the 3 seashells by now. Nobody knows how they work, but when you should be able to go to the bathroom now and see the 3 seashells sitting there where the toilet paper used to be, and we still wipe our ass with a sheet of paper. I always tell people, if you were on a farm and you fell into a pile of cow patties, you slipped and fell, and you got cow dung all over you, arms, all up and down your arms and on your face. And if the farmer said, here's a couple paper towels, ripped a couple of paper towels off the row. Here, go clean yourself up. And you wiped yourself off with paper towel. Would you feel clean? Would you feel clean after falling in a pile of cow crap if you wiped yourself off with a paper towel? But that's good enough for your bunghole every time you take a dump. That's just wipe it with a sheet of paper. You're good to go. Like maybe it's just time. Like, everywhere you go in France, they got a bidet. A little squirt up the old bunghole. Whistle clean. You got a whistling clean bunghole after that, and that's good. Good health, good cleanliness there. Um, maybe it's just time. Maybe it's time we all move on from toilet paper. I'm thinking about it myself. Like, I already use like dude wipes and things like that. Like, I don't toilet paper doesn't do the job. I don't like ugh fuck, man. Um, but you get up in there with the toilet paper and it's like it doesn't work. It doesn't do it. You don't feel good after that. You got to get the dude wipes, baby wipes, whatever. When you go camping on a camping trip, dude, not taking toilet paper on a camping trip, that's for sure. For sure. I'm taking baby wipes, dude wipes, whatever. They got 10 different brands now for male, grown man baby wipes. Like, that's what I'm taking. Be nice and clean down there. You don't even just as clean as if you just took a shower. I just think it's time we moved on from toilet paper. But maybe it's time I just move on to another topic here. So I don't know. Like, this is kind of a weird synchronicity thing today. I had this rant. Well, I had two meetings, two meetings today. Blue Sky has a portable bidet. Portable? Is it like you can take it camping? That's what you need. Oh my God, out in the woods. Now I used to, okay, so what I would do, like glamping. If I go camping at different levels. I can camp in a multitude of situations. My computer is being a little choppy right now, so if you see any video glitches, let me know. I'm trying to see, like, do I have anything I need to know? Everything's pretty much, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's definitely something's amiss, but I'm just going to roll with it. I feel like my camera's a bit choppy. I don't know. Let me know. Let me see about this camera. How's that one looking? Oh, yeah, that one's way off. Shit. Oh, what the hell, dude? Is it? Hold on a second. The last time this happened, it was because something in this app got jacked up. All right, let me see here. All right, it's something to do with Logitech. They updated their software and it all went to hell, as all these companies do. I wish I could downgrade to a previous version because I'm having issues with their. I'm having issues with Logitech now because I got a webcam from them. What used to work great. They updated their software recently. Everything went to hell. So I don't know what to do about it today. If I'm not going to stop the stream and restart. I've been looking into this issue. I may just have to throw away this camera. I don't know. Like, it is really, like, it's totally fucking up right now. Let me see if I can change the resolution of it, because this is what's holding everything up. Oh my God, the whole computer's freezing. Put this on like this, and then switch it to this. Go back and see what it does. I'll just keep an eye on it and see. Oh my fucking God, this is unbearable. I don't want to look this up in the middle of the stream here. Let me do one thing. I'm going to stop and start a camera, and I'll be right back. All right, that. See what it. Let me see if that did anything. I don't know. Everything is jacked right now. I don't understand. I have to look this up while we're talking. I'm mad about this because it is when they updated this freaking app that everything went to hell. Hmm. Huh. A recent Logitech update, specifically around January through March 2026, likely caused performance issues due to some issue. Yeah, then they're trying to explain it, making the app hang and slowing down the Mac OS. To fix this, manually download and reinstall the latest patch from the Logitech support page to restore performance. Well, we don't have time for that, but that's the next step. But it's definitely this app for sure. Like it, I think I've got. Let's see. That's my FaceTime camera. This one's. I mean, we're just gonna roll with it. That's how it's live, bitch. That's what happens. Wouldn't be. I mean, wouldn't be the first time a celebrity got tripped up by technology these days. So as long as we can hear, and if it's choppy and bad, like it is what it is, dude. I don't know what to do right now. Maybe can I quit the app? Let me try one thing. I hate doing technical difficulties right in the middle of the stream here, but maybe if I unplug this camera's USB. Oh, this thing is a mess. This is not a fix I can do. That seems a little better. This will be like something I do tomorrow during the day. Let me think here. Let me think. What can I do? Because it goes from working to, like, it's not just the camera that you see, it's every single thing on my computer just slows to a crawl, and it's completely tied to this app, the Logitech options app, which controls the camera, this light, and everything else that's Logitech device. Oh my god, now the app's freezing, and I don't know how to, like, wait, let me try one more thing. If I'm gonna unplug this camera for a second. Okay. So you guys can hear me. This camera still works. Ooh, that's. And then if I quit, I might just disable that camera and say screw it. If that, well, that's not even fixing the problem. It seems, yeah. I quit the app, I unplugged the camera, and my computer is it's unbearable for me right now. I literally can't do what I need to do. Um we'll just see how it goes. I think it might be stabilizing out a little bit. This is like a gotta reboot my computer kind of a thing, but we'll see what happens here. I'm gonna move on. So I had two meetings today that weren't really like me having to participate, but just kind of dial in. One was with the YouTube people, because once you get big like me and you become a YouTube celebrity or whatever, you get invited to all these boot camps and stuff, and like you get swag, and I'm supposed to have a rep that can help me get unshadow banned and whatnot, but not me with my big mouth. So just if you do have any problems with the stream, just give a shout in the comments. I'm just gonna assume that it's tolerable for now. And if it's super choppy, if it's really bad, just like I will just say screw it, reboot my Mac, jump back in, and just do what I got to do here. Because I've done that before. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So One of the things so I had this like I'm under federal. Yeah, the computer just it's like a cycle. My Mac is like it'll be fine for like 10 seconds and then it freezes. And then it goes back to being fine and then it freezes. And it's absolutely this but I quit the app. I don't know what to do. I'm really irritated about it. I don't know what else to do. Like this is unbearable to be let me just I'm just debating whether I should just suck it up and reboot and give it another chance. Yeah, I got to. I can't do this. It's too much. I'll be back, people. This is just getting worse. So I just got to do what I got to do. I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Now what? All right, now I'm live. Okay, it's sat there for a minute. I think this is better. Like I had no issues with my computer all day until I started doing this. All right, I don't know. Somebody let me know if you can hear me, see me now. Yeah, I like that stupid ass commercial. Can you hear me now? Are we good? Um, but it does look like things are starting to slow. As soon as I connected to YouTube, as soon as I opened up YouTube in a web browser, it started to choke again. And here we are. Something's not right again. But it does feel a little better. I don't know, man. I don't know. Could maybe I might have to stop doing live streams until I figure this out. Like this is fucking insane. I literally can't do anything right now. And it all started when I connected to the YouTube website this time. Everything was super fast. Now it's completely my computer is basically completely fucking useless right now. I don't know if this is going to work tonight, folks. Last time this happened, I was able to get some resolution here, but this is absolutely insane how much my computer is just crippled right now. I've only got the only thing I even have open right now is Chrome and this other app for the camera. I don't even have the Logitech app running. Oh man, this is driving me nuts. I definitely had I watched a live stream today where someone, where shit was going haywire for the guy. He had to try it 3 different times, and then he was like, finally, like, fuck it, I'm done. So this might be it. I don't know. I might. Oh my god, I can't do what I need to do if I got to deal with my computer being like this, the way it is right now. And I just don't know. I don't know what to. I don't know what to try next. And you don't know if anything's wrong until you're in the live stream. Like this is I'm not I don't mind doing the live streams, but it's like everything has to be perfect or it ruins everything. So all right, is this gonna work? Like I literally can't type a sentence into a fucking text field. Takes I type the letter S, 10 seconds later the letter S shows up in front of me. Like this is fucked up. I don't know if I can do I can't. I'll be back. I can't do this. I'm pissed. I can't. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I'm going to try one more thing. If it don't work, I'm done. I can't. I can't do it like this. All right, I'll be right back. All right, it says I'm live. I don't know. We've got 2 people left. Motherfuck, dude. Fuck. Dude, I'm done with this shit. I can't fucking do this today. I might not be able to do live streams anymore. I don't know. Oh, here we are with that. I thought I had it maybe fixed. This is fucked up. All right, let me see what we got. No, but my computer's fucked now. Like, my computer was fine until I connected to the wait a minute. I'm gonna roll with it because I'm oh my god, I'm so pissed off right now. I went through and actually followed the procedure to fix the camera or to fix the problem that the software is supposedly causing. I followed all the steps. That's why I was gone for so long. Restarted my Mac, did the whole thing, and it's not fixed. And I'm seeing choppy video. I can't type. Yeah, I totally can't fucking type. Like, I literally cannot type a fucking word into any text field. Like, my entire fucking computer is shot. Just completely crippled. I'm going to do one more fucking thing. I'm going to go into, like, bare bitch, basic ass mode. And I might have to throw away this fucking camera and get a different brand at this point. Because that's where we're at in today's world. So, like, the hardware and the stuff that we use is fine, but Team India and the fucking AI chat bot that writes all the fucking code now, it's garbage. And like, that's why everything is broken now, because it's the software is complete and utter trash. I just don't. I'm trying to. Yeah, I have no. If I can't like type a word with my, if I cannot like open up a text file and type a sentence, like that's how slow my computer gets all of a sudden. And this is a new issue. This is, I mean, it kind of brought it. It kind of came out a couple of a week ago or on one. That didn't happen yesterday. Didn't have any issues yesterday. And I'm just trying to see if I can patch something here live while maybe maybe I can do what I have right now. Seems to have done something positive. Can I open this one up? I'm limping along. So hopefully, sucks that everybody had to disappear. I get it though, like technical difficulties. Do I really need these? I'm just quitting apps. I'm just trying to like, if I quit that app, I don't need it. I can probably limp along as it is right now. But I don't even know how to test this issue without starting a live stream because that's when the problem happens. It could be a YouTube. It could be like a combination because this didn't happen. I did a live stream yesterday and had no issues. So maybe it's partly due to YouTube. It could be a million different things. I don't know what to think. So I am going to, because I wanted to talk about something. I can share my screen. I don't have I don't really have any slides for today's episode, so that don't matter. You know what? Since I can open up a web browser, I think. Is that gonna work? I gotta Google one other thing because this is like unacceptably slow. Like the entire fucking computer. Like I might just have to be better. I don't know. This is troubleshooting day, I guess. It could be a Chrome update. I don't know. This dude, what the fuck? I'm just oh my god. Yeah, this is like this is completely I'm sorry guys, but like I'm trying to fix it, but this is like this is no bueno. I cannot I can't open anything. I can't do anything. Like you can see and hear some stuff, but on my end if you saw what I'm looking at and dealing with, you would have fucking thrown it in the trash by now. Um like I can't even I activity monitor. Like I click on something 30 seconds later. This is like Windows 98 speed. Like this is like is it that app? No. Like unfortunately it is what it is today. I mean, if you want to hang out while I try and figure out what is going on here. The CPU load is low. The temperature is not too high, but something is preventing like something in the stack of software I have running right now is causing me to like the computer when I open a window it's like like it's struggling just to open a window. And I'm going to quickly stop and restart the stream and try to turn some I'm just turning things off until I figure out what. All right, I'm going to turn off a piece of software which is going to cause me to lose the stream again and I'll be back in like 30 seconds. Down to like All right, we're live again. All right, I mean, I don't know what the problem is, but I've narrowed it down to like as soon as I shut off this one app that allows me to switch between the different cameras and stuff live. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everything's like smooth as silk now. Yeah, so I can do this. We can do this. I just got how do I share my screen if I want to jump? Okay. All right. All right. The replay, if you're watching the replay, it is what it is, baby. I mean, this is what happens in the live streams on YouTube. I see this a lot. I can't switch cameras now, and that's who cares? It's not a big deal. But at least I think I know what software was causing the problems. Uh, in fact, that piece of software just had an update yesterday or the day before. Yeah, I'm terrified of updating software now. I haven't even updated my Mac OS for so many versions now that certain software I'm terrified of updating software these days. Terrified. Mainly because I can't afford to lose 6 days of work because all of a sudden nothing works anymore. So, it used to be when I was younger and using computers and software all the time. I would what's the word? I would jump on software updates all the time. Oh, let's get the newest one. Let's get the newest one. Now I'm the older you get, the more opposite you become of that. And that actually kind of leads into the topic of today's episode. We're only an hour and 6 minutes in to the stream. So, I mean, we still got a lot of time to have fun today. What I was going to do before I was about to just throw this thing out the window. I don't know if Blue Sky's in the house. April 8th. Oh, yeah, my computer's nice and snappy now. So we're good. I just got to do things a little different and maybe try to figure out. I might have to do a test random stream or something. So now I got to look. Window, entire screen, that screen, share. Okay, so we can do it this way. We can go to Jesus Calling today because we haven't done that in a bit for the live stream. And when times is tough, let's see what the Lord has to say, about all this. I'm like I get a little worked up and pissed and bang my hand on the desk and whatnot. And you'll see me if the audio drops, you'll see me like motherfucker and all that. And yeah, I do. I get animated. I don't like glitches, but I'm not as mad as I might look. I'm just irritated. This kind of stuff goes with the territory. It is what it is. But you don't nobody remember when I remember Mariah Carey did some New Year's Eve or something like that on Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve or whatever, and her microphone didn't work and it was just a big shit show and she like cried and stormed off the stage and whatnot. It's like that. These things happen. Ricky Gervais gets up in front of the what was it, the Oscars, gives a big speech to all the Epstein Island pedophiles in the crowd, and they're all like, "Oh my god!" They're all embarrassed and like, "Stop it! Stop it! We gotta cut his mic! Cut his mic!" They didn't know what to do because it was live. Things didn't go according to plan. So, all right. Jesus says, April 8th, I am with you and for you, your constant companion and provider. The question is whether you are with me and for me. Though I never leave you, you can essentially leave me by ignoring me, thinking or acting as if I am not with you. When you feel distance in our relationship, you know where the problem lies. My love for you is constant. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. It is you who changes like shifting sand, letting circumstances toss you this way and that. When you feel far from me, whisper my name. This simple act, done in childlike faith, opens your heart to my presence. Speak to me in love tones, prepare to receive my love, which flows eternally from the cross. I am delighted when you open yourself to my loving presence. And, there's some Bible verses, Genesis, behold, I am with you and will keep you wherever you go and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Then shall we say to these things in Romans? If God is for us, who can be against us? And Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever in Hebrews. So I can definitely relate. Oh, come on, dude. All right, we're just gonna have glitches. You don't see what I see in front of me, but the computer's working fine now, so I can live with this. Um, so like I'm doing this 35-day grind it out challenge, 5 weeks of just putting my nose to the grindstone and just trying to accomplish as much as I can, and just like trying to step up my game a little bit for the next 5 weeks. And two things that Jesus calling relates to. Um, Sunday, I was burned out. Probation. This federal probation. I have a whole thing about this subject that before we even get. I got some stuff to talk about because of today, but I have to do this monthly nonsense for probation every month, and I did it. And then because they gave me a new probation officer, and they were supposed to like leave me alone. And it's been the opposite of that. They've been up my ass constantly. Nothing like crazy, but they can basically send you back to prison at any time for the smallest little things, and we'll talk about this. And so it's always on my mind. And I started like I had no reason to be upset today, or just like nervous energy, like that kind of nervous energy you can feel in your gut, that like you feel like your chest is caving in because you get riddled with panic, anxiety. Like it's bad sometimes. And I don't think it's abnormal. I don't think it's unique to me. I think anybody who's been through the crap I've been through in this whole, and you're part of this federal corrupt system, you're going to go through this. And maybe it was like a precursor to this. Like, so I had two meetings today. One was with the YouTube creator community, whatever the hell, with the YouTube rep or whatever, where nothing big. I was half paying attention to it. I had to fill out some form during it, and I paid just enough attention to know that I had to do that because I was working on my client's project at the same time, trying to get some stuff done, knowing that I didn't have to be an active participant in this meeting, but I just had to kind of be there. And probably didn't even have to be there, but there was a reason why I was. And then there's this organization. I'm going to pull up their website. Give me a second, because every time I go to share a screen, it turns into this big thing instead of being able to hit a button. There we go. Okay. So there's this coalition called the Safer Supervision Coalition. There's a bill in Congress right now, the Safer Supervision Act. And the people who are lobbying for this are the same people that lobbied for the First Step Act. And I've talked about this before, but the First Step Act was part of the reason why I was able to go home on April 2nd of 2024 instead of sometime in August. Well, August, it would have been like June. It was at least 2 months early I got to go home because of that law that was passed. I received extra days off of my sentence, and they tried to deny it to me. And one of the jailhouse lawyer inmates, that's what they're called, the inmates that actually know how to work the system, helped me get my First Step Act time, and I got to go home in April instead of like June or July. And so I got invited to this thing. Like somebody was like, you might be interested in this, blah, blah, blah. And then they had this Zoom meeting today. And it wasn't like it wasn't a participation Zoom meeting. It was them talking to a bunch of people. But all these people shared their horror stories. And then I realized basically this act is supposed, because the federal government's sentencing is too harsh. It's ridiculously corrupt and harsh. And they put everybody under probation who gets released from federal prison. Almost, it's like basically it's automatic. And it's harsh, and you can basically go back to prison for the dumbest shit. Like, you get fired from your job, they could throw you back in prison for it. Like, there's so many fucking things that they could trip me up with and throw me back into prison under this supervision, that even though I've reported and I'm honest about it, they have not been very mean to me since, except for, making me be homeless for 5 months. But once I came to Texas, they started out a little bit douchey, but then they turned to actually, they've been very friendly with me, generally speaking. So, but that thing, that boot is always on your neck, always on my neck. And the amount of hoops and things that they make, when they jump, you got to jump right now. You like whatever it is that they tell you to do, you got stop what you're doing and do whatever they say, or you go to prison again. So what have I done? Oh, what bad things, what horrible things has this monster done since he got out of prison? Well, he picked himself up from the gutter to not be homeless anymore, got a job, has clients, started a business, doing this, doing that, rode a bicycle 25 miles each way 5 times a week to go work at a bakery. Like, oh yeah, I'm such a horrible fucking person, doing all kinds of bad things. So, but they constantly hang it over your head. And so I get in my head and I get bitter and I'm angry. I'm so angry about this way but I was supposed to go to this meeting today. I almost blew it off. I was like, I'm busy. I'm doing client stuff. I got to do the live stream tonight. I don't want to do this. But I was like, no, Adam, go to this thing. Maybe there's something there for you. There's something, the spirit guide, God, he pressed it on me to do this. And maybe that's why I had that like thing in my gut this morning about probation. Like just the spidey sense was off. And like, just like, what are they going to do next? Because they let me go for a while. In 2025, I saw the probation officer in February when I moved into the tool shed, because they're required to come and see your place. And then I saw him in June when I moved into this place, because they're required to come and see your place. And then I saw him a week before Christmas, because he was required to come and see me before the end of the year. So he waited until the end of the year. And that was it. 3 times. I talked to that dude 3 times last year. So I was thinking, okay, they're chilling out. Maybe they're going to leave me alone now. They switched me to the lowest threat level, and the old probation officer said I probably won't hear from them anymore. And then I get a new probation officer. No, I'm on the lowest threat level. This new probation officer, like every week she's coming at me for something. But it's never like crazy stuff. But I don't need to be seeing these text messages pop up once a week of, hey, I'm going to climb up your ass today and make your heart jump into your throat again. Like, that doesn't help you get on with your life and build a life again. That makes you live in fucking fear and panic and, and all the rules and all the different things that you have to do and jump the hoops you have to jump through. I can't go visit my kids. Well, anyway, I get into all that, and it's not fair and it's bullshit. And so this group is trying to lobby Congress to put a stop to this overuse of basically ruining people's lives. Like, didn't they pay enough debt to society when they did 20 years for a fucking for a bag of weed? You know what I mean? Like, but now they got to be on 20 years of probation. And any day they can just go right back to prison and start all over again. Like, the whole thing is so fucked. But I've told you many times that the whole prison industry is built on keeping them beds full. So they need those prisons to be full because the Bush family, the cartels that run this country are the owners of the private prison industry. Some are literally private prisons, privately run prisons that the states don't even run. They just pay a private corporation to run a prison. And then there's the connected industries to the prison, the food industry. Like most of the prison kitchens now are run by private corporations where they just come in and run the kitchen and the state pays the corporation to do it. The uniforms, the Crocs that you wear on your feet, the commissary industry, the bed industry, the mattresses, the crappy ass mattresses, and the different, like all the things that the prison needs to run. There's a huge billions of dollars industry because there's more people incarcerated in the United States than any other country on earth, and it's a business. It's a business, and it's run like a business. So they're going to keep you in. They got to keep those beds full. And so I got to hear all these people's stories today. And the one thing that when you're feeling bad about how the government's treating you, something that helped, I mean, it didn't help. It actually makes me feel even more disgusted than I do already. But when you hear other people's stories and how bad they've been put through the ringer, it makes me feel like, well, I feel dumb for even being upset about even though I don't feel like I was treated fairly at all. When I hear and see the stories that these other people have been through, it's like, holy shit, dude. I didn't have it that bad. And so I'm going to share some stories I heard. I'm not going to say the names. Well, I can say some of the names because these are public stories. So this guy, Charles Duke Tanner, he spoke to us today in the Zoom meeting. He was serving 2 life sentences for a first-time drug offense. And then, even though his crime had so there's a point system that determines what prison you go to, and there's a supermax, maximum security prison, medium security prison, low security prison, and a camp or minimum security prison. So his points for his crime classified him to go to a camp or a minimum security prison. He got sentenced to 2 life sentences and they put him in a maximum security penitentiary at like 26 years old. And what was his crime? Because I had to do some more homework. So hold on. That stemmed from. So anyway, it stemmed from his involvement in a drug conspiracy related to crack or cocaine distribution. And he was arrested in 2004 at age 24 and convicted in 2006. And he was sentenced to 2 life sentences for being a coke dealer or a crack dealer. 2 life sentences. Now think about it. Half the people in Congress right now molested kids on a private island. They're living their best life. Crack dealer got 2 life sentences for selling crack. 2 life sentences, not 1 life sentence. Murderers don't even get 2 life sentences. The Jew killer, that's what they called him at the Butler County Jail. Robert Bowers shot 11 people in a synagogue in Pittsburgh. He got the death. Well, he did get the death sentence. He didn't get 2 death sentences. This dude got 2 life sentences for dealing crack in the ghetto. His sentence was later reduced to a 30-year sentence. Oh, goody, in 2016. He served 16 years, and he got clemency or commutation from President Trump in 2020. But then he was put on probation, federal supervised release, like I'm on right now. So he's still getting harassed by the government all the time. And so while he was on supervised release, some of the stories he shared was he's not allowed to go visit his family because his family doesn't live in the same state or in the district that he was assigned to. So he can't, his brother died or somebody important in his family died, and the probation office wouldn't let him go to the funeral because that would have been a violation of his probation. And some other things he talked about, but that was a pretty big one. And so then Donald Trump gave him a full pardon. He missed out on jobs. He asked the probation. He had a job that would have required him to travel. They wouldn't let him have the job because he'd have to travel. So, like, they actively they forced me to be homeless for 5 months. I didn't have to be homeless. They forced me to be homeless for 5 months. They would rather me be home. Like, that's how the federal government works. Oh, we're going to make you be homeless even though you have a home for 5 fucking months. While the whole time they're threatening me and everything else under the sun. And so he got a full pardon in 2025. I guess that was last May. And now this guy's one of the people that's fighting for this law to get passed so that they can reform this bullshit. And because on the probation officer side, there's so many people on federal probation that every single probation officer is juggling like 1 to 200 cases. And they're saying like 1 out of every 10 people in America right now is on federal probation. Like they've completely abused, but it's a system. It's a business. When we talk about it as running a business, they got to have customers. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And if they let people get light sentences or go home, they can't run the business anymore. It's all to put pockets in the people who molest children and worship Satan and sit in the halls of Washington, D.C. This thing is so massively corrupt. But anyway, this guy was sharing his story, and I listened, and I was like, wow. It was his first conviction ever, nonviolent, and et cetera, et cetera. Well, it reminded me of somebody that I saw so when I was in federal prison in Danbury, they had a movie come out, and they had us all watch it. We didn't have to watch it, but it was like, oh, movie day, you know. So there's a woman, and this was during the Bill Clinton years. This woman was named Kemba Smith. You may know this story. It's a pretty famous story. She was a young college student at Hampton University in Virginia, a middle-class family, no criminal record. She got into a relationship with a drug dealer who was dealing crack, another crack dealer. She never sold drugs herself. She didn't have any involvement in his crimes, but they charged her with conspiracy to distribute crack and powder cocaine, money laundering, and making false statements. And once again, if you ever get arrested by the federal government, you're guilty. That's it. 98% conviction rate. You will not walk away from that. You could be completely innocent. If the federal government decides to lock you up, that's how it works. It's no different than Saddam Hussein's kangaroo court in Iraq or Kim Jong-un in North Korea. It's the same fucking thing. You won't believe me because you're all told that you got a constitution and rights and all that bullshit. You don't. You don't. Talk to the people that know, and you'll find out you don't have any fucking rights. Hope, maybe some of you need to find out someday, but you will find out. And then when you do find out, everybody in your life who you thought might have your back, well, they will all turn their back on you and have nothing to do with you ever again. But anyway, this girl in 1994, first time nonviolent offender, convicted of being a drug dealer because her boyfriend was a drug dealer. That's it. That's all she did. She dated a guy who was a drug dealer. 24.5-year prison sentence for dating a drug dealer. She served 6.5 years at Danbury, Connecticut. So I walked the halls that she walked. I sat in the places she sat. I ate my meals in the places she ate her meals. I walked around the same fucking jogging track that she walked around for 6.5 years. But Bill Clinton came along and gave her a clemency. He didn't give her a pardon, but he let her go home. And now she became an advocate, and they made a movie about her. It was on BET called Kemba. January 2025. Oh, Joe Biden gave her a full pardon while he was president to clear her record. But this is what the government does. This is what the federal government does. I've said more than once that if you get charged with jaywalking in Houston, Pittsburgh, New York City, wherever you live, you go to court, it's probably a $50 fine, right? You pay a ticket, whatever. Maybe you get it dismissed, but whatever. You pay a ticket and you go. If the federal government charged you with jaywalking, it would be 18 months in federal prison, $150,000 fine, and 6 years of probation for jaywalking, because that's how the federal government. It's more than quadruple whatever you would get as a sentence from your state, county, city, or whatever for whatever you did. The federal government, it's quadruple at least. Whatever the sentences are, it's the federal government multiplies it by like 10. And that's why this country is just going to hell in a handbasket. I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that deserve to be in prison for a long time. The Jew killer that I talked about, the guy who shot 11 people in a synagogue, probably shouldn't be out walking the streets ever again, huh? You know, he was. There's only 2 federal inmates on death row right now because Joe Biden gave all the rest of them clemency, and it's the Boston bomber and the Jew killer, Robert Bowers, and the other Sarnaev guy. Biden didn't give them a pardon, or didn't give them clemency. But anyway. So I heard another story. Another guy talked about his situation. They won't let him start a business. He was a business owner, whatever district that he's in, whatever his probation officer was, they won't let him have a business. So, and they're kind of like doing the same thing they tried doing to me, where they were like, you got to go work a $5 an hour job when you could make $100 an hour doing your business. Like, they do that to people. They force you to go and work some crummy ass job when you could make more working for yourself. But sometimes they won't let people start their own business. And I always feel like I'm walking on a tightrope with them. Like, because they could call me up tomorrow and said, we're not going to let you do that anymore. And they could like rip the rug out from under me and totally destroy my life and cause me to be homeless again because I wouldn't have any income anymore. Now, I'm not saying they will, or they have, or they, like, I feel like sometimes they give you a false sense of security so that they can show up and rip the rug out from under you later. But, I just hear these stories and it's crazy. So I heard 2 other crazy stories, and then I had to look up the details of the cases after the fact. So another guy was convicted, Jerry Vega, convicted in 1988 on, once again, nonviolent drug charges, sentenced to 55 years to life for being for drugs. He served 30 years in federal prison, and then he got compassionate release at the age 65 in December of 2020. So from 35 to 65, he was in federal prison. Then he was placed on home confinement after release with an ankle monitor, living with his daughter and her mother. And so one day he was cleaning the apartment building. He took a trash bag and walked down the hallway and put it in the garbage chute. And it made his ankle monitor go off, and the probation office tried to have him sent back to prison for walking down the hall. He never even left the building. He left his apartment and walked over to the garbage chute in the same hallway, and they tried to put him back in prison for taking out the trash. But the judge didn't go along with it and didn't revoke his probation. Then he remained probation free for more years. Doesn't say how many, but he had other close calls. Like he had to go somewhere for work and they tried to violate him for going to work. And then he tried to get early termination of his probation and the court denied it, even though he hadn't done anything for 3 years, and then he had to serve the full term. He almost went back to prison for taking out the trash. Now somebody else, another probationer, went to the White House to receive an award from Donald Trump, the president, and the probation office tried to have that person violated for going to the fucking White House to meet the president of the United States. Her name was Judith Negron, and she was sentenced to 35 years, once again, in federal prison for a financial crime. White-collar, nonviolent offense, 35 years in prison. She was on supervised release, invited to the White House to participate in advocacy efforts, criminal justice reform, second chance, that kind of stuff. It happened in the context of criminal justice reform. Her sentence was commuted by Donald Trump in February 2020. So she was released from prison, but placed on supervised release. And when you're on probation, like me, you cannot have contact with another convicted felon. So I'm not allowed to talk to convicted felons. She went to the White House to receive an award from the President of the United States with other convicted felons who were also at the White House to receive an award from the President of the United States. And then her probation officer tried to have her violated for associating with felons. Like, how fucked up is that? You went to meet the President of the United States along with a few other convicted felons, and then your probation officer tries to have you thrown back in prison because you were associating with other convicted felons at the White House, where you all received an award from the President of the United States. Tell me this shit is not fucking crazy. Tell me this shit is not fucking corrupt. Keep telling me that. Nobody's really telling me that, but I'm just saying. That is so beyond fucked up. So, and she almost got sent back to prison for going to get an award from Donald Trump because she was in the same room with the convicted felons. And then I think Donald Trump gave her a full pardon. I heard from another guy, 13 years in prison for a first-time offense. He served 9, and then he was put on 5 years of probation, and he'll still be on it until 2029. And believe me, these people who are speaking out against the probation and doing this stuff, they risk getting put back in prison just for speaking out against it. Because the federal government, once again, I say this every day I'm on the YouTube live stream, we are ruled over by billionaire, satanic, child molesters. We've all seen the documents. They're child molesters in charge. Billionaire, satanic, child molesters run this government, and look what happens. So, I mean, this is the stuff you see in a banana republic. This is the stuff you read about in your history books when, Hitler took over Nazi Germany, when Stalin and Lenin took over Russia, when Mao Zedong took over China, Kim Jong-il took over North Korea. This is the shit. This is the same shit. They disguise it as like, oh, you got a Bill of Rights. You don't. You don't have any fucking rights. Sometimes it takes being caught up in this system by this crooked government to find out you actually don't have any rights at all. But you don't. I'm just here to tell you all, you don't have any rights. Go ahead and fucking argue with me about that. You don't have any. I'm just letting you know. You got the right to go to fucking prison or get killed when they want you to fucking die. That's pretty much all you got. And but there are people in there. There are people out there who are against this. There are people in the system who don't think it's fair and think it's completely corrupt. And, there are people in the government who really aren't happy that their bosses are a bunch of fucking satanic child molesters. And look, everybody leaves the live stream as soon as I mention that we have satanic billionaire child molesters in charge of the United States, which we all know is true. Nobody will even argue with me about that anymore. That leads right into the topic of today's show, the main topic I wanted to get into. Nobody argues with me on that topic anymore. Nobody will even tell me I'm wrong about that. But they all disappear. I don't want to hear that. There's nothing we can do about it. We just got to let the billionaires rape our kids, because if we speak out about it, they're going to put me in prison just like they did with you. Well, if you're going to be a bunch of fucking pussies and not speak out about it, then yeah, your kids are going to get raped by a bunch of fucking billionaires in Washington, D.C. Just because they can't go to the island anymore don't mean they don't have some fucking dungeon somewhere where they're 300,000 kids go missing every year in America. Where do you think they fucking go? Where do you think they end up? You don't hear about that shit on TV. Why don't you hear about it on TV? Well, the people that own the TV networks are raping the kids. That's why. They don't want you to fucking know. But nobody even argues. And that's because I'm Generation X. And here's the topic of today's show. Gen X is up to bat. If you saw the thumbnail, you might wonder, why is this kid carrying around a baseball bat with barbed wire wrapped around it like Negan from The Walking Dead? Well, I'm pretty sure Negan was Generation X. He knows what's up. You gotta, that's what it's gonna be. And that's where we're going. That's where this country is headed. Be prepared. I mean, Gen X, my generation, the people that grew up with me, we all know. We all know, because we saw the before and we're watching the after show up. We all know where this is going. People want to keep their head in the fucking sand and not talk about it and pretend it's not real. But nobody's arguing with me anymore about whether it's real or not. I'm going to jump around in the notes a little bit, but the biggest difference between the 1990s, early 2000s, mid 2000s, 9/11 was an inside job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. JFK, 9/11 being an inside job. We never went to the moon, all these things. I would say up until 2020. So there's a big shift in our society right now that I don't know if it's positive or not, but there is something that I notice. Blue Sky says, do you remember the missing children on the milk cartons? Of course. And every carton had a different kid. It wasn't like it was the same kid on all the milk cartons at the grocery store. They were like collector's cards. They were like Pokemon. There's 1,000 different missing kids on all the cartons at the grocery store. You could collect them all. You could collect them for 10 years and not collect them all. And so Hunter Budden, 69, what up? But the thing is, I'd say up until 2020, and maybe even later than that. All I know is there was a point in time I have worn my tinfoil hat on my head since I knew a woman who died on TWA flight 800 in June or July of 1996. That's when I started to wake up to all the corruption and all the lies and all the bullshit. The Clinton body count, the Bush crime family, Obama, who's not even a citizen of the United States and married a man dressed as a woman. All of it. Skull and Bones candidates. George Bush and John Kerry both went to Skull and Bones. Tim Russert called that out on Meet the Press. He's dead like 2 weeks later. I've been watching. My tinfoil hat is covered in rust. Okay. I've been wearing this since mid 1990s, kids. There we go. We're down to 0 watchers. That's what nobody wants to fucking listen to truth, do they? But I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to go with this. The number one thing that you'll notice is up until a certain period of time, everybody would call me a conspiracy theorist, a liar, spreading misinformation, telling lies, making things up. That's not real, blah, 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 blah. And now, whenever I'm talking about this stuff, not a single person out there ever argues with me, calls me a liar, tells me I'm spreading misinformation, says that that's not real, that's not true. All of a sudden, they know 9/11 was an inside job. The CIA killed John Kennedy. The Skull and Bones crew killed Tim Russert after he called out George Bush and John Kerry for both being in it. We all know Michelle Obama is a man. We know Barack Obama is not even a U.S. citizen. We know all of these things. We know that all the people in charge raped the kids on Jeffrey Epstein Island. Nobody fucking argues with me about whether any of that's true anymore. They all used to call me a misinformation spreading liar. And now they don't argue with me about whether I'm telling the truth or not, because now everybody knows I'm telling the truth. What do they say instead? Now, instead of calling me a liar, they either tune you out and don't want to listen to it at all, or they say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. So why should I care? There's nothing we can do about it. What are you going to do about it? There's nothing we can do about it. That's the new argument. And the way I look at it, that's actually progress. Because 10 years ago, everybody told me I was a fucking idiot for believing all those crazy conspiracy theories. Now they're just known as facts. Now we just call those things facts. And now that they have gone from being conspiracy theories to facts, the problem is now all the same people who used to call me a liar are now their only argument is, well, there's nothing we can do about it. We're just going to have to let them rape our kids. Like, well, what if Jeffrey Epstein's customers come to your house and they want to take your kids to the fucking island? Are you just going to sit back and be like, oh, kids, you're going to have to go get raped by Bill Gates. We got the Dow is at 50,000 right now. I got to get my new version of Windows for my laptop, kids. Go let Bill Gates fuck you in the bunghole. Like, that's where we're at. Now everybody knows it's true. And now they're just like, can't do anything about it. Fuck it. What are we going to do? We can't do anything about it. So I don't know. Is that a step forward? Is that progress? Is that progress? That now nobody argues with me about whether I'm right or wrong about these things. They know that it's all true now. But everybody feels hopeless and that, there's nothing we can do about it. What's the next step in the order of progress if we're moving in the right direction? Because last I checked, there's 350 million Americans, and there's like 1,000 of these people in charge. So in a battle of 350 million, most of whom have like 10 guns apiece, going up against 1,000, I don't think the 1,000 have much of a chance if the 350 million finally say, we're done here. We've had enough. Well, okay, we're done. This is over now. And it wouldn't even have to come to guns, because that many people They might have to show up with their guns slung over their shoulders, but if 2 million people showed up to DC carrying an AR-15, would they all die? Probably not. I know it's illegal to carry an AR-15 around Washington, D.C., but if 2 million people decided they were going to do it tomorrow, what would the government do? What would happen? 2 million. Like, that's way more people than went to see Donald Trump speak on January 6th. That's all I'm saying. So, anyway, Generation X is up to bat now. That's our turn now. I don't even know if we ever get a turn because the baby boomers won't let go. Our parents, Gen X's parents, they got to be in charge. And, look at Mitch McConnell, that crooked old geezer. That dude can't even stand in front of a microphone and stand there, let alone talk, let alone not fall. Like, they're propping that motherfucker up like Weekend at Bernie's, and he literally can't even talk, and he's a senator. Like, give up the fucking gavel, homie, and pass the torch. There's plenty of crooked Gen Xers you could recruit for the job, for crying out loud. Let the baby boomers got to go home. Time to go home, to go to the fucking nursing home. Not all of the baby boomers are that crippled and inept. The baby boomer, there's a wide range of years and abilities here, but it's time. It's time to let your kids have a say. We're 50 plus years old now. So I think we know some things, for crying out loud. We know how to set the clock on the fucking oven. Boomers don't know that. Generation X. What does that even mean? Like, ever since I heard, when I was younger and I heard that I'm part of this like so-called Generation X, and I'm like, why X? That's the first letter. That's the first time I heard a generation with a letter attached to it. And I'm like, why is it Generation X? Why X? Why the first time that they called a generation of kids Generation something, they go with X, which is like third from the last letter of the alphabet. They skipped A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X. What about all they could, like, that's a little bit sus. That's a little bit suspect, isn't it? You got like X marks the spot on the treasure map, but X is also the symbol of crossing something out, right? You put an X through it, you cross it out, it no longer exists. It's symbolic of a crossroads of sorts. And I think they chose X for a reason with my generation, because you go from the baby boomers to Generation X and then to the millennials. And now sometimes the millennials are called Generation Y when you work in marketing, but they're mostly known as the millennials. And then you've got Gen Z, Generation Z. Well, there you go. You fucking ran out of letters. Whoever the fuck came up with that system, you only had 3 fucking letters before you ran out, even though there's 26 in the alphabet. But when you think about it for a minute, did the people that came up with Generation X, did they know when they made that up and put that on us? Did they already know that they were only going to need 3 letters? They probably knew we only need 3 more. So let them be Gen X. We ain't going to need 2 more after that. So, we don't need all 26 letters. We only need 3. Think about that. Look at where things are headed right now. Look at the things that you've experienced in the last 5 years and watched go on in this country. You've got I really don't think they need another letter. Is there going to be another generation after Z? I highly doubt it. When's the last year you can be born and be Generation Z? I don't know. Yeah, we were talking about the Georgia Guidestones. They're fulfilling their dream right now. It's what the AI is for. It's what the robots are for. All the shit that they're doing. It's why Elon Musk is basically trying to figure out how to move to Mars. If you look at, so this is a side trip here, but I think Elon Musk is Gen X. He sees the shit for what it is. He's like, I'm going to start a electric car company, a robot company, an AI company, and a rocket ship company, and a tunnel digging company, so that I have all the shit I need when I decide, fuck it, I'm moving to Mars. He can dig himself an underground chamber to live in, have a bunch of robots on the surface doing all that shit, have solar panels set up to give him electricity to run the electric cars and do all the electric shit. And he has a space rocket company to give himself a rocket to get there. And then whatever the other thing was that I taught. Oh, and he's got X, so he can still get on social media, right? So yeah, he'll be able to be on X all fucking day from Mars. And everything. And then there's another thing. I didn't even make this connection until just now. Everything that Elon Musk names, he calls it X. Twitter became X. Space X. What's the other X companies that he has? I know Tesla is not one of them. The Boring Company. I mean, that's actually pretty damn creative, whoever came up with that. The Boring Company. That's great. But there's another X company that he has. I just can't even think about it right now. But X marks the spot. Gen X. It literally marks the spot when things shifted in America. Analog to digital. Here's the thing. I made fun of the baby boomers, but we both got a pro and a con. Like, I'm going to get it. Here's the difference between the baby boomers and the millennials and the Gen Zs. Every single baby boomer that I know, they don't know how to do a fucking thing on the computer. They're clueless when it comes to computers. It's ridiculous. Can't check an email. I get irritated when I watch some fucking boomer try to figure out how to use a mouse. We've had a fucking mouse for the computer since like 1985, and these boomers still can't figure out how to move the mouse and look at the screen at the same time and watch the cursor go around and click on things. I'm like, click on that. The button, the big button that says click here. You move here. Let me hold your hand and move the fucking thing. See the arrow? Wait, oh, look at the arrow. Turn to a little hand going like this. Now click the button on the other fucking button. That's what it's like trying to teach a boomer how to do something on a computer. Can't fucking go to a website. Can't type in a website address and find the fucking website. foxnews.com. It's fuck. That's like, it takes them 45 minutes to figure out how to do that, even if you showed it to them 100 times. They've had since 1982 to learn this shit. The boomers refuse to learn. It's ridiculous, dude. But on the flip side, the boomers know how to use their hands. The boomers have craftsmanship. They have knowledge. They have know-how. They know how to build things. They know how to fix things. They know how to use tools. They know how to do things that would blow your fucking mind. Like they can, if there was no electricity and the grid was down, you want some boomers on your team. Believe me, they know how to make shit work, and they know how to do things when there's no more computers in the world because there's an EMP or everything goes to shit. The boomers, they know how to grow some food. They know how to do a garden. They know how to use tools. They know how to fix things. They know how to do shit with their hands. They know how to fix older cars that you can actually fix, cars that don't need a computer to run. They know how to change the oil, change the spark plugs, change the carburetor, tune a carburetor. They know how to do all this shit. Boomers know how to tell time on a clock with two hands. They know a lot of things. When it comes to the analog world, baby boomers know their shit. They are completely fucking clueless with computers. But boomers can read and write cursive. They can write in cursive, calligraphy, and they can do it, and they can read it. Okay? Now, on the flip side, These fucking millennials and these Gen Z kids, they're totally fucking useless when it comes to anything that doesn't involve sitting in front of a computer or holding a smartphone in their hand. They know how to use the digital tools inside and out. 5-year-old kids can program video games now. Like 10-year-old kids are running startups, tech startups now. You can be a 13-year-old girl and get funded $10 million for your tech startup by Mark Cuban and the Shark Tank. Very, very competent when it comes to the digital world and the digital tools and the computer stuff. But have you ever watched a millennial try and drive a fucking stick shift? You ever put a millennial in a car that's a stick shift and watch them? That is one of the funniest things in the world to see. That's why they call a manual transmission in an automobile a millennial anti-theft device. Because none of them know how to fucking do it. They aren't going at, believe me, if you park in a seedy alley in the middle of the ghetto where there's nobody around older than 25, your car's safe if you drive a stick shift. No one's going to steal it. No one will even know how to start the fucking thing. You don't even need the club. Your wheels might be gone when you come back, but the car will be there. Nobody's going to know how to drive it away. You ever watch a millennial try and use a clock? Try and see a clock with hands? You know, the hour hand and the minute hand and the second hand. You ever watch a millennial try and tell time, or a Gen Z kid try and tell time on a clock like that? You may as well be trying to teach them how to read Chinese. They have no fucking idea. They don't teach cursive anymore in school. None of these kids know how to write. They don't even teach the kids how to fucking write. You ever see a 20-year-old write their name? It's getting to the point where, like, I was watching the Patriot one day, right? And when a slave owner signed up his slave to be in George Washington's army, and the slave owner walks in and says, "Here, make your mark," because the slave doesn't know how to write his name. And so the slave just goes up and scribbles some shit on a piece of parchment and doesn't know how to fucking write. That's Gen Z. They don't even know how to write their fucking name. A 25-year-old Gen Z kid, when they write their name, it looks like we used to write our name when we were in kindergarten. It looks like you were just learned how to write yesterday. Like, give the kid a fucking crayon and a coloring book at this point and give him some motor skills. I don't even know. See if a 25-year-old kid wouldn't even be able to stay in the lines on a fucking coloring book now. like for real, they're useless, but they know their digital world inside and out. They could put on a fucking VR headset, put them in the world of Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out. They'll take over the whole fucking city within about 3 hours. The boomer won't even know how to get the fucking helmet on their head and probably vomit from the motion sickness. But here we are, Generation X. We, Gen X kids, at the crossroads where everything went from analog to digital, we had to learn all that stuff. We had to learn it all. We grew up having to learn how to do everything by hand. And then once we figured out how to do that and we became good at it and we mastered it, then we were told, oh, nobody does that shit by hand anymore. You have to learn how to do it on a computer now. And so we went and learned how to do that. And now we know it all. Gen X, we're the only generation that knows everything. There's a big divide between those who came before us and what they know and what they're good at, and then those who came after Gen X and what they're good at and what they know, and we're the one in the middle that knows how to do both. And I'm just speaking in generalizations. I know that there are exceptions to the rule on both sides of that. But when you're in the middle of it, but it's truth. You know how many baby boomers I've had to teach how to use a computer, and I can't even get them to figure out how to use a mouse after the mouse has been in existence for 35 years? More times than I can count. So I'm not ashamed of calling it out. But you know what I mean? The kids don't know how to change a spark plug. Kids these days don't know how to change a flat tire on a car, even if it's a spare tire donut and the jack's in the trunk. So it doesn't mean every single person of that There's black people that don't like fried chicken, can't stand watermelon, and hate rap music, and I know some. So no, that it's not. You can't just lump everybody into a thing. But as a generation, these stereotypes, they certainly exist for a reason. I'm gonna do a little side trip here. I was on a date once, and if we're gonna talk about stereotypes that exist, they have a reason to exist. And I'm going to give you a prime example. I was out on a date in Pittsburgh. We went to this Greek restaurant, one of my favorite. Well, it was actually a Mediterranean joint, one of my favorite restaurants in Pittsburgh. And it was a great place to take a date because it was very light food. It wasn't like you were pigging out. Just get a little bite, and go walk around, hit up some bars, whatnot. Well, she told me, she's like, I've never been on the Gateway Clipper. And if you don't know, Pittsburgh it's three rivers, famous for the three rivers that converge, the Ohio, which is formed by the Monongahela and the Allegheny River. They have river boats with the big paddle wheels on the back, like Mark Twain and shit. And you can take a riverboat tour. And they do them every day. And this girl was telling me, I've never been on the Gateway Clipper. I'm like, well, shit, let's do it. Because it's going to be like 4 hours of getting the chill on the deck of this boat, watch the city float by, and get to see it from all these different angles. And they go up and down the three rivers, and it's going to be cool. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. We get there. We go up to the ticket window. We buy our ticket. And we turn around, and we're looking at our tickets, and we're looking around, and we're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. Something's amiss. And we're looking around. There's like hundreds of people there. And we are the only two white people there. We're like, oh, what's going on? And we look down at our tickets, and it says, welcome to the WAMO. Now, WAMO, that was the rap music and R&B music channel for the city of Pittsburgh back in the day. And so the ticket said, welcome to the WAMO, all you can eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise. That's not some racist bullshit that came out of my mouth. That's what was on the ticket. And there were about 300 black people, hungry black people there, waiting to get on the Gateway Clipper for the all-you-can-eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise. So there's a stereotype that says black people like chicken and ribs. Well, there's a reason for that. I was holding the reason in my hand. The WAMO, all you can eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise. Now, we're looking at each other. We're like, fuck, what we just ate. I love me some chicken and ribs. Damn it. We're like, man, we could have been picking out on chicken and ribs all night. But now we're full. And so we're like, shit, we're not. So we didn't eat the chicken or the ribs. But we listened, we basically hung out on the top deck of the boat in some lounge chairs. Got a couple beers, this and that, some drinks, whatever. And we just cruised up and down the river while an R&B band was jamming below us. Live band on the stage inside the boat. But like people were coming. I mean, everybody was cool. Like everybody was like pointing. Oh my God, look at the white people, right? We were the center of attention. Like we were, there were fingers pointed at us and people were like, oh my God, oh. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. We didn't give a shit. Like nobody was mean to us. This one guy comes up to us when we're on the top deck and he looks at us and he's like, hey, y'all ought to come down and get some of them chicken and ribs. And I'm like, yeah, we ain't hungry. We just ate some light Mediterranean fare, white people food. And he's like, right? And he's like, well, you don't got to be scared of us. And I'm like, yeah, no, we don't got to be scared of you because if all the blacks decide to attack us tonight, all we got to do is jump over the edge of the boat and swim to shore because we know you people don't swim. Yeah, dog. And so we made some good friends that night on the chicken and ribs, all you can eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise. Go ahead and call me a fucking racist. I was not the radio station that put out the call, citywide call. Come and get the all you can eat chicken and ribs on the black people boat tonight. I wasn't the one that made that shit up. We just showed up not knowing that it was the all you can eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise tonight. So there are stereotypes for a reason. That doesn't mean all black people want to eat chicken and ribs. And I'm sure they had a lot of watermelon on the table too. But probably a big thing of Kool-Aid too. I don't know. But that doesn't mean that they, but there's, it said it right on the goddamn ticket. The Whammo 102 point whatever radio station presents the all you can eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise. That shit was in my time capsule for a long time. I had to get rid of all that stuff when I became homeless, but I had this time capsule full of fun memories. But anyway, so if we're talking about me calling out stereotypes to the boomers, or I'm the millennials are mad, the Gen Zs are mad, and the boomers are all mad at me right now. I'm not saying that you necessarily fall into that stereotype, but they exist for a reason. Gen X, though, we got stereotypes too. We don't give a shit. We are cynical. We have a bad attitude. We don't care what you think. We're sick and tired of all the bullshit. We're jaded. Pretty much every Gen Xer that you know is jaded. We've had enough. We're sick and tired of watching the world go to shit. And it's because we've watched the change. We've seen what things were like, and now we see what things are like, and we're not having it. Analog to digital. I'm a photographer. I learned photography with film, putting film in cameras, processing my own film with a freaking metal container in a dark room with photographic paper and chemicals. I had to learn how to edit my own photos in a dark room, dodging, burning, doing tricks on a table with a projector above my thing, making prints by hand, retouching them with an airbrush. I had to learn how to use an airbrush. Sometimes you see people using an airbrush on t-shirts at the amusement park and stuff. I had to learn how to do all that. I had a dark room in my place. My house had a dark room. I could develop and print and process film and prints in my house. I got good at all that stuff. And then I had to switch everything over to doing it all digitally. Photoshop, digital cameras, digital everything. Threw away the dark room. Never used it again. But I'm basically an expert at both. The boomers who were photographers, they know how to do film inside and out. They never learned how to do digital. They hated it. They don't want to use it. They still can't use it to this day. Very few of them made the transition successfully. The kids these days, film is like something you try out once or twice just to see how the old people used to do it. Or it's like something that you can do for your Hipstergram account that, oh, look at that. He used film. Oh, remember that? Well, you don't remember it because it stopped being used before you were born. But now it's just like a novelty for the new generation. It's all digital. Gen X, we know how to do both. I know how to use film. I could take a film camera when computers don't exist anymore, and I could just pick one up and start doing it. I'd have to go through a little refresher on certain things. Like I'd have to get a chart or something to know my development times. You know, you have to do your developer, then you have to dump that out, then you have to do your stop bath, then you have to run it through the fixer. It's all time and stopwatches and stuff. I still know how to take a film out of a camera in a black, dark bag and roll it onto a reel and put it in the container and get it all sealed up so that I know how to do all that shit. And, but that's why I don't do it, because I hated it. But the digital was better. I was a DJ at one point. When I learned how to DJ, it was on 2 turntables with vinyl records and a mixer, and going to record stores to find music, and having to do my homework to find music, and actually go to record stores and pick up random white label records you don't even know what's on it because it's just a white label with nothing printed on it. What's this? I don't know. Put it on the turntable, put on some headphones, listen to it. Do you like it? Okay, put it in your bag. We had CD collections, cassette tape collections when we were growing up. And then everything became digital. Now professional DJs don't even use real turntables anymore. Some the ones that still do have a digital sensor on them that just senses the record spinning, but they're all using Serato and some other music box app. And it's all digital. It's all digital music files now. Push button DJs. Paris Hilton is a fucking DJ now because she get up on stage, pushes a couple buttons on a $10,000 rack, and then does this, and she's a DJ now. If you still had to do vinyl, Paris Hilton wouldn't be a fucking DJ, would she? No. So, our music collections, everything went to digital. Now our music collection is just a monthly subscription to Spotify or Apple Music or one of those. It's so difficult now to even manage a local music collection of digital files on your computer anymore. And they did that on purpose. The software, there's no good software for listening to your own music now, and they took that all away on purpose. We can talk about that all day. Here's a funny story. There's a girl, like an 18, 19-year-old girl at the bakery. She's into the retro stuff, but it's like fun. Like these kids, like they all got CD players and they listen to CDs because it's fun. And it's because it's nostalgia. It's what the old people used to do. Back in the old days, they listened to these CDs. Look at these things. And they got like their little flip book. Remember the flip books that you always had in your car? You got this fucking binder with 150 pages of CDs, and then you put the CD in your car. Remember that? Well, these kids, some of them just do it for fun. So she's asking me one day, she's like, "You're old. How do you burn a CD? I've got a CD and I'm trying to burn." And I'm like, "Well, do you got a CD burner?" I'm like, "Where the fuck do you even get one of those?" She has one. And I'm like, "Well, here's the thing. It really never took off because it sucks. Anybody on the stream right now, if you've ever burned a CD, you know how much that sucked. It was buggy. Half the time the CD would get trashed and it wouldn't burn properly. Burning CDs was never a good, straightforward, easy thing to do. I haven't burned a CD or a DVD since like 2003, possibly. It's been more than 20 years since I burned a CD. And so I'm asking her, I'm like, why? Why do you want to burn a CD? Like, I'm like, do you have a cassette tape player? Do you listen to cassettes for fun? That was pretty low, or that she doesn't go back that far. So anyway, it could be a lot of different problems. I just said to her, I'm like, as far as if you're having problem burning a CD, it could be a million different reasons. I'm not gonna be able to troubleshoot that one for you, kid, because I haven't done it in 20 years, and it sucked the last time I did it. It always sucked. Burning DVDs, CDs. I had a huge burned CD collection, burned DVD movie collection. Me and my friends, we all had Netflix, and we'd all trade our Netflixes with each other, and we'd all make copies of our Netflix and then send them back to Netflix and get 3 more and before you know it, I had hundreds of movies. Now you just use Plex and put them on a hard drive. It's much simpler, much cleaner now. If I want to watch a movie, I can just log into Paulflix and watch one of 10,000 different movies for free. I'm not going to tell you how to get to Paulflix, but it's out there. um, back, all I'm saying is, back when we had to burn CDs and DVDs and that's all we had, we made it work. We made it work. But as soon as the flash drives and the hard drives and everything came down in price and the capacity went through the roof and the speed of everything and the cloud and the downloads and all the shit, we're like, yep, we're done. Get rid of these CDs finally. I went to art school for graphic design and illustration. That was my major. Oil paintings, acrylic paintings, watercolor paintings with like paintbrushes and paint. I did renderings with colored markers and sets of professional colored pencils that cost hundreds of dollars for a set of pencils. Hundreds of dollars for a set of professional markers. Markers. Pantone markers, you could spend $500 to $1,000 on a set of markers. They come on this big giant rack. Every ad agency and design studio had gigantic wall-size racks covered in markers and colored pencils back in the day. Every kind of paper you can imagine, drawing paper, rough, smooth, watercolor paper, Bristol board, tracing paper, marker paper. I used all kinds of blending stumps and blending tools and kneaded erasers and hard erasers and medium erasers and 20 different darknesses of pencil lead and different kinds of pens. I had a flat file in my house. If you don't know what a flat file is, it's like a filing cabinet with big flat drawers that are like 5 feet wide by like 4 feet deep. And they slide out on these rollers and you can put paintings and drawings and pads of paper and board and anything big and flat. A flat file. I had one of those in my house because I was an artist. I spent weeks on pencil renderings using 15 different pencil lead hardnesses and kneaded erasers and blending tools to do different things. And I had to learn how to use giant cameras. They were called stat cameras. They were the size of a room. You put a big giant negative into a slot and you would use that to create printing plates, to do screen printing and offset printing and stuff like that, because all this stuff was done manually by hand. I used to have to take and cut out type and paste it onto a board and cut out a picture of something and paste it onto a board, take a picture of that with this giant room-sized camera, and then turn that into a plate to make screen printed t-shirts with by hand. I made woodblock prints. I've created logos on whiteboards using rapidograph pens. If you know what those are, these freaking technical pens. They're the worst. Oh my God, they are the most awful, most ridiculous pens to maintain in the history of the world of pens. They're like $50 a piece, these pens. And you'd have to get a set of like 10 of them for art school. It'd be like $150 to get like 7 different sizes of these pens. And they were finicky and hard to use, and ink would go all over the place if you didn't do it right. And they were a mess, but they made very, very crisp, exact width lines. But there was a certain technique you had to use with them. And if you didn't do it right, you're screwed. Like I said, I did airbrushing. I had several airbrushes, easels, you name it. And the reason why, and that's the reason why I don't do any of that stuff today, ever. I sit in front of a MacBook and I do it all here, right in front of me. When you made a mistake in art class, in art school, doing all that stuff, one splash of ink from the rapidograph pen being shaken too hard, blop, big black blotch of ink on your page. You just got to throw away 3 weeks worth of work and start over on your fucking project. And if you don't finish it on time, you fail the class. Now, You saw me having technical difficulties with the live stream today. I had to reboot my computer twice, screw around, mess around with it. We lost some time today. I lost some time. We lost some viewers, but we got it done. And here we are having a good time. And that's digital. If I screw up something in Photoshop, I go, oh, Command Z, undo. Oh, undo, undo, undo. And if I really, really, really bork something bad, well, I go into Time Machine and I'm like, which version of this file do you want? Do you want the one from 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, half an hour ago, 2 hours ago, yesterday morning, the day before that, last month? Every single version of that file that the hard drive can store as an automatic backup is there. So I can go back in time and open any file as it was like 2 months ago. If I totally screw the thing up so bad that I have to go back to that one, it's there. So there really isn't any issues with, oh, I got a blotch of ink on my drawing I just spent 6 months doing and now it's ruined. I have respect for people who still do stuff like that by hand. I was showing you an artist a few weeks back who would do wall size pencil drawings of cities down to the smallest detail. And I was zooming in on some of those details. And I saw these things in person at a train station in New Haven, Connecticut. And I'm telling you, this drawing is the size from the floor to the ceiling. And I'm just like, holy fuck, how did he do that? It must take a year and a half to do one of those drawings, working on it every single day, doing nothing else with your life. Pencil, did it with pencils, pencil drawings. Wow, man. And you can tell that they're hand done because they're not perfect. But they are wild to look. I mean, just you could stare at one of those pencil drawings for 20 hours and never get bored. You would see so many, oh my God, little kids playing in Central Park. Oh, that kid's flying a kite. And now you go down, oh, there's the World Trade Center and all the people at the bottom of the, like, fuck, man, the dude was off the rails. But I don't do any of that stuff today. It's all digital for me. I haven't touched a paintbrush, a pencil, or any art stuff in decades. Decades, I haven't touched that stuff. I could do it tomorrow if I had to, but I don't. You never really forget how. It's like riding a bicycle. You can take 10 years off, get back on and ride your bike. You won't forget. But everything I do is on a computer screen now, and I'm fine with that. But Gen X, we know how to, if the power went out forever and we had to go back to doing all this stuff by hand, I'd be able to run a print shop. I'd be able to make books. I'd be able to print. I could go back to being like Ben Franklin at his printing press and making, anti-government flyers to put on trees around town with nails. The blacksmith would have to make all the nails now because you can't just go to fucking Home Depot and get them. Can't the nail gun's not going to work. You're not going to be able to go around town. Patoom, patoom, patoom. You're going to have to use a hammer and get the blacksmith nails and hang the parchment. Hear ye, death to King George. Flyers on all, but I could do it. I could print 1,000 of those overnight, hang them up all around town, and then Paul Revere can ride around on his horse telling you that the feds are coming. If we don't have any power, Gen X will know, and the boomers will know how to get things done. The millennials and the Gen Z, they're fucked. They're fucked. They'll be walking around. The Gen Z kids, they'll just be walking around with their phones like this for 6 fucking years, going like this, waiting to see if a signal shows up, even though there hasn't been power in 5 years. My daughter would do that. I took my daughter camping one time out in the middle of fucking nowhere, out in the mountains of out in the western panhandle of Maryland and Garrett County. You either know or you don't. It's so remote that a B-52 bomber crashed there during World War II, and all the people died because they couldn't be found. And the wreckage and the site is still, I don't know if the wreckage is still there, but the site is still there. And it's remote. You need a 4-wheel drive or you got to hike to get back to it. And And then there's another crash site somewhere in Virginia in that same region of the Appalachian Mountains. The wreckage is still there because it's so remote. Even to this day, they can't get it out of there. So they're just like, fuck it, leave it. It's a hiking destination now. So my daughter camping. Obviously, there's no cell phone signal. My daughter's like this the whole fucking weekend, just holding her phone up in the air. At one point, she's standing on a fucking tree stump with her arm as high as it would go. Just, please let me have one bar. Please let me have a bar. Please, Dad, can I get a bar? One bar. Come on, I can't do it. I want a bar. And we're just laughing at her the whole weekend. We're like, kid, look at it. Like, look at the fucking trees and like make some fucking s'mores or something. Jesus, kid, put the phone down. Put the fucking phone down. But you know, I'm all digital now. Like I said, in a grid down society, if we had to go back to the analog world, Gen X, we could do it. Anybody who came after us, you're screwed. It's over. But that, like I said, that would be the only situation where I would actually want to go back to that stuff. Because I do prefer, but I highly prefer driving a stick shift over an automatic, or even the new paddle shifters and the pretend stick shifts that are out now. The dual clutch transmissions. I do prefer analog in a lot of cases. But if I were to DJ again, I wouldn't want to go back to using turntables. I like all that new stuff that's out. I played with it. All that new stuff was coming out when I stopped being a DJ. Like I was going to Guitar Center to play around with it. The Pioneer CDJ had just come out. And I was like, damn, this thing's cool. And they're also like 2,000 a piece, and you need two of those in a mixer. So you're in like $5 to 10 grand just to start the party. But I was playing with those and being like, wow, the things I could do with this. And then I just stopped DJing. So I would be a push button digital DJ if I were still doing that. And I would never go back to turntables. I know I wouldn't. Maybe I'd put a couple of turntables on my rack just to have them there, like Carl Cox does. And some other modern DJs, they'll still spin a record here and there just to show the kids they still know how. But that'd be it. I never liked I always wished I could do it digitally when I did it on vinyl, because there's so many problems with vinyl that you don't have on. But then digital sucks too. You saw the live stream completely freeze up and choke today, and my computer just completely crapped out. That'll happen as a digital DJ. The turntables are going to work all night long. The needle might skip the groove. You might have a problem here and there, but it's going to work. It's reliable. If your Pioneer CDJ system completely takes a dump and Serato needs an update and it doesn't work on your new MacBook or whatever, you're fucked. The club has to close early tonight because there's no music. And I read stories about DJs who their software just takes a big dump, like my computer did tonight. And that's game over, bitch. We're all going home early because that's it. It's game over. Or the dance floor has to watch the DJ try and do tech support on his rig or her rig for 45 minutes while there's no music. That wouldn't happen with turntables. The needle might skip a groove and you might coarse clomp two blended tracks that go out of sync, but that can be fixed in about a half second. Whoops. Party keeps going on. Everybody forgets about it because they're too drunk to even know what's going on. So, I don't know. Note taking, Gen X. I used to keep notes on paper pads, half sheet paper pads, the little yellow paper pads that you could tear away the sheets if you needed to tear one out, but generally would leave them in there. And I would only rip them out as necessary or whatever. I didn't like 8.5 by 11 pads. I had to get the postcard size notepads. Hundreds of these things. I have boxes and boxes and boxes of these things piled up in closets going like 10 years worth of notes. And then, but the problem with that is like, I got to find some random thing I did 5 years ago because there's something in there that I need to know. Oh, I guess that's the box from 2000 or 1990, 2001. Is that the box from 2001? And I got to go through 25 or, 150 notepads trying to find a note. Then somebody got me to finally dig into Evernote. It took me a minute to switch. I didn't do this overnight, but once I got into Evernote, I never wrote anything on a notepad again. I still, to this day, I don't write anything down. I put it in my phone, which is right now I use Notion instead of Evernote. They all suck. All these apps suck. They're just different ones suck in different ways, but they're all terrible. But the one thing they do is whether I'm on my computer, my other computer, my Surface tablet, my phone, my other phone, the other thing, or on a stranger's computer where I can where I can call up a web browser and go log into it. I can access any note I ever took from 2014 to today like that. You've seen me do it on the live stream. You've actually watched me. Well, you may not have watched me log into it, but you've watched me go back in time and retrieve things out of an Evernote account from 2014 and then show it to you. I've done it live on the live stream. That's how I couldn't do that with notepads and handwritten notes. But all you got to do is know what to type for the search query and something that some password that you wrote down in a note file 20 years ago, boom, pops right up. Something you wrote on a digital napkin 20 years ago, you can search images for the text inside the image. So it could be like some screenshot of a thing that I did. And as long as I know something that's in that screenshot, boom, pop it right up. I can find notes that I took 15 years ago or whatever. 2014 is about the time I switched. So 4 to 5, 12 years ago. I can find things I took notes on 12 years ago. And instantly, as long as I know what the search term is. And if I don't know the search term to find it, the stuff's organized good enough that I could probably find it within an hour if it's buried. And because it's going to be organized into some folder that was marked for some project or some job I worked at or something. And I'm like, well, it's got to be in this folder somewhere, I'll find it. And it's rare that I don't find some random thing that you never know when you're going to. I have saved my ass when I came home from prison because I was able to find stuff in those notepads, the digital notebooks, that thank God that stuff was there or I'd have been screwed in so many different ways. So as Gen X, millennials, they don't write. They don't know how to write. They don't teach kids how to write anymore. So they don't have notepads with notes on them and stuff. It's all on their phone. I mean, if the electricity were to die and I can't access my notes anymore, I'm really not going to look at that as a big problem because we got bigger problems at that point. And some fucking note I scratched down on an Evernote file 15 years ago isn't going to matter. If society has collapsed that bad, I ain't going to need to know the password to that thing, or I'm not going to need that screenshot to show the live stream today of when I showed you guys the last week when I showed you the screenshot from the work app for Tinder. That was in my Evernote. That screenshot of Tinder for work for your employee performance reviews, that was in Evernote. And I called it up like that. I knew exactly. I searched for in Evernote. I went to Evernote. I typed in Tinder for work. Boom, there it is. That was in 2016, 2017 when that went down. Boom, found it. The website doesn't even exist. I can't even find screenshots of that by doing Google image searches and stuff like that, but they were in my notes. I've got ebooks stored in there. all kinds of good books. Y'all want some good conspiracy tinfoil hat books? Dave McGowan's Strange Scenes in the Canyon. Uh, what is the one by the Skull and Bones book? America's Secret something. Anthony Sutton. Can't remember. Why do I not know the name of that book? I've read that one more than once. The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America by Charlotte Isby. I've got books upon books, ebooks out the ass, saved in my Evernote. I can pull them up anytime I want. If y'all want a book, let me know. Holla. You know how to find me. Links.lickgood.com. It's right there. If you can't find me there, then you must be a boomer who don't know how to use a computer. Boom. Gotcha again. Gen X, man, we know how to do all this stuff. Man, we invented the stuff that you millennials and you boomers use today. The digital world, we built that. So you kids, like when these kids at the bakery call me an old man, I'm like, you need to respect your elders because you wouldn't have Snapchat and Hipstergram and all that dumb shit that you kids do. You wouldn't have TikTok if it weren't for your elders, the Generation X. We built that stuff. We did that. You wouldn't have your OnlyFans. You wouldn't be able to make money by, I don't say this to the girls at the bakery. They're not that kind of girl, I don't think. I hope. I would never suspect that. But, you girls out there in the ether who might be watching this live stream, you wouldn't be able to sell pictures of your vagina to make 60 grand a month if it weren't for us, the Gen X. We built the internet. We made it possible to put videos on the internet. I'm pretty sure it was someone in Gen X that made YouTube. I don't know, probably. Or could have been an elder millennial, one of the ones that just straddled the line. I mean, Gen X, we played video games. We grew up with video games too. The boomers didn't. We grew up with them. I had an Atari 2600, a Nintendo Entertainment System. I had them all. And remember, Gen X, we remember when video games were hard. You ever watch a millennial or a Gen Z try to play the video games that we played? Super Mario Brothers, Contra. Now, we all knew the Konami code. Every single member of Generation X, if I told you that the password to get into, like, if I had a Nintendo controller hooked to my front door of my house and I said to you, it's the Konami code. That's how you get in. That's how you unlock the door. Like if you were a friend of mine, Gen X, doesn't matter who you are, if you were Generation X, and I said, hey, if you need to unlock the door, it's the Konami code. And it's a Nintendo Entertainment NES original controller hooked up to the door. Anybody who is Generation X would know. Up, down, left, right, BA, start. Boom, door's unlocked. You would know. Everybody knows that shit. But these millennials, the Gen Z kids, they don't know that. They put in a Contra on the Nintendo Entertainment System. You get 3 lives. You ever play that game? You can't get past the first board on that motherfucker with 3 lives. 3. And there's like at least 10 levels to that game. And what the Konami code would do, it gave you 99 lives. And still, the only way you could really beat that game was to get 2 people to play at the same time. Both of you put in the Konami code, and that gives each of you 99 lives. And then I think if one of you runs out of lives, you get 1 more Konami code to get another 100 lives. But if you both die before one of you puts in the Konami code again, then it's over. You got to go back to the beginning. And you don't get to like save the game and pick up where you left off. Like you don't get to like, the only way to save your game when you were Gen X was you hit pause and then you had to leave your TV and the Nintendo turned on for 6 days. Like say you went on vacation with your parents and like your parents are yelling at you to go get in the car and you're like, God damn it, I'm about to finish this level. You would have to leave the Nintendo on for 6 days and hope that it was still on when you came home so that you could try and finish your game. Now, Every time you die in Grand Theft Auto, you can just go back to your saved game right before you died, pick up where you left off, try it 100 times until you finally get past that spot, save the game again. So you never act like the games aren't even hard. They're fun. They're more complicated in terms of, but these millennials, these Gen Z kids, they can't beat Super Mario Brothers. Fuck that. They would die. They can't even get past the first level because it's actually hard. It's timing and reflexes and muscle memory and stuff like that. It's now the video games just teach you how to play the game and basically do everything for you. And like Gen X, the boomers, the thing about the baby boomers is that back in those days, one parent, usually the dad, would go work and he could make enough money at his job to pay the bills and the house and the cars and all the stuff so mom could stay home and take care of the kids. But Gen X, we were when Gen X turned 8 years old, we were given a house key that we had to tie to our shoelace so we wouldn't lose it. And we're told, good luck. Don't burn the fucking house down. We'll be home sometime later on tonight after you go to bed. Peace out, kid. Have a good life. And we were left. We never fucking saw our parents again. We were left home alone. We had to cook our own meals. We had to go get the mail. The best part about it is when the school would send a letter home in the mail because I did something wrong, got in trouble with the principal. He'd send a letter home and I'd be home from school before mom and be like, well, that's going in the trash. Mom don't got to know about that one. And now these Gen Z kids, school sends a fucking email to mom and dad as soon as the kid's in the principal's office. You can't head that off unless you are smart enough to start a tech company when you're 10 years old and get $10 billion from Mark Cuban to do it. Then maybe you're smart enough to keep your parents from getting the email from school when you played hooky or whatever. But then 20 fucking cameras caught you doing it. Like Gen X, we lived the best life. We got to do it all. But then here's another thing we witnessed. We watched all the baby boomers make all the money, and then they became the last generation. Another X marks the spot, crossing something out. The baby boomers were the last generation that actually lived better than their parents. And now, Generation X, the millennials, Gen Z, they're all living worse than their parents did. Less money, less opportunity. Like Gen Z, you're not going to buy a fucking house. You know, the Gen Z kids know they're never going to buy a house. Like they already know. They've heard the boomers say you'll own nothing and be happy. Gen X is the first generation that lived worse than their parents did, and each generation that comes after is going to be worse than the one before. X marks the spot, the crossroads where everything switched. Gen X, we grew up, we saw freedom. We saw what freedom was like in America. Before the whole police state was totally finished, like we have today. These millennials and these Gen Z kids, they have no fucking idea what things were like back in the 80s and how fun life was and how free we actually were back then, and privacy and things like that. You could actually do things and have fun. And if you did something and actually got in trouble, it was like a slap on the wrist, and now it's 15 years in prison. Back in the day, a mean tweet, or I could have mailed a letter to the president mouthing off and saying some shit like that, and the Secret Service would have come to high school and had a talk with me or some shit like that, and that would have been the end of it. Don't do that again, Adam. Now, one mean tweet and you go to fucking federal prison for 2 years. That's a police state. We don't have that. We had freedom when I was growing up. We don't have it now. We weren't completely free during the 80s. I mean, they blew off JFK's head in the 60s. So, that was before I was born. But we saw Gen X. We saw freedom. And then it's gone. Now we know it's gone. We don't have any of that anymore. We saw it disappear. We were the ones that watched it. Now, some of you boomers who are still around, you've seen that too. So you know too. The boomers know. The ones that aren't in charge of everything and hoarding all the shit for themselves. Um, who, the billionaire pedophile boomers who run Washington D.C. don't really have to experience that loss of they can rape kids. That there's a lot of freedom there. They got a lot of freedom. If you're free enough to go to a private island and just rape some fucking kids on a Tuesday, fly back to DC and vote on a fucking bill in Congress, you're pretty fucking free. But the rest of us, no, we're not. We're not. Like before the police state, any kid that was born after September 11th, you'll never know. That's the Patriot Act. That's when the government's spying on everything. Believe me, if you don't think the government spies on you, wait until you get convicted of a federal crime and the FBI goes here, and it's a hard drive with one PDF document on it, and that PDF file is 650,000 pages long. I've told you this many times. I don't have the file because I'd need a 5 terabyte hard drive to hold it. But I could ask my lawyer for it. I could go to Pittsburgh someday and make a copy of it. It's a fucking PDF document that's 650,000 pages long. 70,000 pages, 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper would be a stack of papers 20 feet tall. I've done the math. So 650,000, let's do the math. So 60,000. Hold on. Let's see. It is, let me think. Let's see. What did I say? 650,000 divided by 60,000 is 10 times 20. That would be 216 feet tall. So the document, the PDF file that the FBI gave my lawyer of everything they had that they tracked from me, that they had on me, everything I've ever said or done online, on a computer, anything, that if you printed it out on sheets of paper, it would be 217 feet tall. What's the height of, how tall is the, okay, 217 feet tall. The tallest building in Pittsburgh is called the U.S. Steel Tower, and it is 841 feet tall. So it would be 1/4 the height of the stack of papers that they handed me in an electronic document would be 1/4 the height of the biggest building in downtown Pittsburgh. Let me think. What's the height of that building? What's the height of the fucking building? What's the height of it? I'm trying to find something out here. 200. Oh my God. Okay, so I worked in a building that had 15 stories in downtown Pittsburgh, an old building called the Arrett Building. And when that building was built in 1902, it was the tallest building in downtown Pittsburgh. And it is 256 feet tall. So that's a 15-story building. The FBI gave my lawyer a PDF document with everything they fucking traced or everything they monitored me doing, my entire fucking digital history. And it was 650,000 pages long. And if you were to stack those papers up on sheets of paper, that would be the height of a 15-story building. Let that sink in. All right, so don't tell me that they're not fucking watching and fucking cataloging everything that you say and do, including the live. They got all your names. Whatever you chat in the live stream tonight, they got it. They can pull that up. There it is. Put that in the 650. That's page 492,334 in your PDF file. Back when, okay, Gen X, when we were kids, our parents used to threaten us and say, that's going to go in your permanent file. Remember that shit? If you're Gen X, you heard that shit. Our parents said that, oh, you get in trouble in school, that goes in your permanent file. That's a real thing. That's a permanent. Why do you think they're building all these data centers that use more electricity than a fucking city, that are the size of a city? A bunch of fucking computers, all in gigantic 20 fucking mile long buildings that need an entire lake of water to keep them cool and use more electricity than a town. They got to build a nuclear power plant just to power one of them. What do you think they're storing there? Maybe your 650,000 page PDF permanent file, or yours, or you in the back there. You all got one. They can send it to you tomorrow if they want. You're going to need it. But you're going to need to go out and buy a fucking hard drive to hold it. It's that fucking big. If you printed it out on sheets of paper, it would be the height of a 15-story building. So, good luck, kids. Keep calling me a conspiracy theorist. I saw my fucking permanent file. But Gen X, my generation, we saw what freedom was like. They didn't have the capability to do all that shit when we were kids. They were trying, and they were putting it on fucking paper, and you had a manila folder full of shit in the CIA headquarters. But we're at a different level now. The biggest problem that the government had with all the shit they've collected on us is that a human being can't go through all that shit and figure out what's in it. Now they got AI. They can read your 650,000 page PDF file like that in 2.5 seconds and find anything you ever said or did that would constitute a crime that they could charge you with. How many of you have ever said or done something on the internet that could be constituted as a crime? Remember, I went to prison for 2 years for a fucking tweet. So what have you done? Every single one of you watching this show right now, you've done something. They say, I'm going to do a whole episode of this for the live stream, but they say every single American citizen commits about 3 felonies a day because the law is so outrageously unknowable that every single one of you watching this show, you committed 3 felonies today. Well, the day's not over. You've had to have committed at least 2 today. 2 felonies you've done today. And it's 9:00 Central Time. So by midnight, you'll commit 1 more felony unless you've already done your 3 for the day. But every single American citizen commits 3 felonies a day. And believe me, when they arrest you for it, what do they say? Ignorance of the law is no excuse for breaking the law, but they don't even know what the fucking laws are because there's so many of them that nobody knows. There's a show on Netflix I've been hearing about where if you get charged with a crime, you go in front of an AI judge and you have an hour to prove that you're innocent, or they kill you or some shit. They cut off your head or something. That's it. That's what they're going to do. That's what they're getting ready for. They're going to be like, oh, we don't need juries anymore. We have AI. And then watch this guy who makes all the videos about how AI screws up and can't figure out how to do basic math. But you're going to go in front of an AI judge at some point. It'll start out with like you get a speeding ticket, and instead of going in front of the magistrate or whatever, they're going to be like, we don't need that shit anymore. We can just have AI judge for the speeding tickets. Actually, it'll start out as parking court. Pittsburgh has a parking court. You get a parking ticket, there's a parking court to go fight your parking ticket. It's different than the speeding ticket court. That'll be AI. That'll be an AI judge. You go to a fucking hole in the wall, like that thing where in the movie Idiocracy where you go to order Carl's Jr. You want some big ass fries. You're going to go up to that thing with your parking ticket, and an AI judge is going to tell you whether you're guilty or not. And then it's going to be speeding tickets. You go up to the Carl's Jr. Here come the judge, brought to you by Carl's Jr. Do you want some big ass fries with your speeding ticket? And it's going to fuck it up, and it's going to spray you with poison gas like it did in the movie. And that's going to be the traffic ticket judge. And it'll just keep going down that path until You're charged with double homicide and you go in front of an AI bot that's a judge. That's where we're going. Unless God says, you know what? Jesus is coming back today. Any day now, Jesus could be like, all right, it's time. Like he knows the appointed hour. We don't. How much longer is he going to let it? How much worse is it going to get before Jesus comes riding in on a horse, his white pony or whatever? But this time he's carrying a sword. He's done. He's done healing the sick. He's done bringing people back from the dead. He's here to fucking cut heads off. The next, that's what the Bible says. He ain't coming back the second time around to teach us how to be nice to each other. He's coming to cut heads off and send you to hell. So, hey, how much longer do we got? I don't know. But like I said, Gen X, man, we had to raise ourselves. We didn't have parents teaching us how, we didn't have parents taking care of us. The parent, when you turn 8 years old, you got a house key, you tied it to your shoelace. Don't burn down the fucking house while we're at work. And that's it. That's the last time you saw your parents. Till high school graduation. No supervision. We had to, you know how many times I set the fucking house on fire when I was a kid growing up, Gen X? My parents had no fucking idea. Why? Because they didn't give a shit and they weren't home. And I actually didn't burn down the house, and I cleaned up all the soot and, put all the shit away and got rid of all the melted stuff and got rid of the smell and sprayed fucking air freshener everywhere and all the stuff so that when mom and dad came home that night, they didn't even know. They didn't know. They had no idea. I came within I had at least three times I almost burned the house down, but almost. They told me not to burn the house down. Almost doesn't count, does it? Almost counts in horseshoes, they say, but not burning the house down. You either do or you don't. But here, Gen X, we've seen the whole world go to shit. We've seen all the corruption. We've seen the workplace. All the things I talk about on this show. We've seen it all. So our heads on a swivel, all of us. Everybody who's Gen X, we're always tracking. We see what's broken, what's about to fail. We're constantly on alert for anything that might go wrong. Always feeling suspicious because, the calm, whenever it's calm, Gen X knows it's just the calm before the storm. There's a storm coming. We got to be ready for the storm. So we can never just fucking relax when things are calm. I can't. Most people, Gen X, can't. We don't really, the boomers are pretty good about pain and stuff like that. Like, I'm good. I broke my arm and I didn't go to the doctor for 8 weeks because I'm like, I'm good. It's just a broken arm. Who gives a fuck? But it's because the boomers were the last ones that could go to the doctor. Gen X, we can't afford to go to the fucking doctor. You took that away from us. Can't afford the fucking health insurance. The health insurance, even if you do pay for it, doesn't pay for the doctor's bills anymore. Oh, you got to come up with $6,000 on your own on top of the insurance premium before we're going to pay a medical bill. So when you break your arm, you just have to fucking live with it. Be like, fuck it, my arm's broken. I guess it'll heal. We're jaded. We're angry. We've seen this whole world go to shit. We've seen the people that did it are still in charge. Look at all these geriatric motherfuckers that fill the halls of Congress in Washington, D.C. They're all like 80 years old. Go to the fucking nursing home or just retire. Have you lived long enough? Why don't you just go enjoy your fucking old years and let somebody else run it now? They won't let go. They won't let go of their power. Fuck, man. Back in George Washington's day, when you were 80 years old, were you holding on to the fucking reins of government, trying to control it till the day you die? No. You gave up on that shit when you were like 40 years old. You were too old for that shit. I'm going to go fucking live on my farm. Fuck all you mother. I'm out. I did my part. um, we don't even care. No, nobody from Gen X even wants to be in charge of anything because we don't give a shit. They call it quiet quitting. We've all quit. Gen X, we don't give a fuck any. None. The older I get, the older Gen X gets, the less of a fuck we give. Nobody I know from Gen X gives a fuck anymore. None of us do. We don't care. We see where it's going. We see where it was. We see what's up. We know that the geriatric boomers are never going to let go of their power. We know that the geriatric boomers bought their house for $5,000 and a pack of Budweiser. Now, if Gen X wants to buy a house, it's 400 grand for the same fucking house. Like, good luck. Yeah, Gen X don't get to retire. Gen Z certainly don't. They fuck retire. Gen Z, they're going to find out how to strap your ass to a fucking computer and put electrodes in your fucking brain and just grind you to a pulp until you're gone. You're never going to even have a day off by the time you grow up. Take it from Gen X because we don't give a fuck. We'll tell you the truth. The other people aren't going to tell you what's up. Listen to Gen X. We know what's coming. But Gen X, we're good. We can handle emergencies. Like, we can handle, like, when the shit hits the fan, you want Gen X on your team because we don't give a fuck comes in handy when the whole world is melting down and there's zombies walking around the streets eating people's brains. And like if we go with the Terminator ending or the Walking Dead ending or World War Z or Black Mirror or Idiocracy, no matter how the world ends, Gen X, we're just like, fuck, it's just Tuesday. We don't give a fuck. We're not going to be like freaking out about everything. We might have an angry moment. I got mad and banged my fist on the desk tonight when my computer went haywire during the live stream. Gen Z would have a fucking meltdown and have to go see a therapist tomorrow and be crying and tears coming down their eyes. Oh my God, what am I? I was a little pissed. I was a little bit pissed because of the shitty software. Some dickhead from India wrote bad code and fucked up my day. And now I'm over it. But I still don't, I'm not going to be nice about it. Gen X isn't nice. We're not nice people. Don't expect it. Set your expectations low and you won't be disappointed when you deal with Generation X. We hoard. I bet most hoarders are Gen X. Because we know there's a use for everything. Some old ass fucking computer cable from 20 years ago can still be, you might still use it for something. You know what I mean? I guarantee you there was some thing I found the other day and I'm like, God damn it, I know I threw that cord away a year ago. And now I had a need for it. You know what I mean? But be prepared. Be prepared. I mean, I don't have enough room in here to hoard. But we're all, Gen X, we have a mental list of everything that can go wrong every day. A lot of us live like that. I don't necessarily like it. But our sarcasm, it's I am one of the most sarcastic people you've ever known. Gen X, we're all like this. We're all like this. Believe me, I work with a few Gen Xers and we're all the same. We're all the same. Different levels come out, but we all make eye contact and we know what each other's thinking because we all think the same thing. And it comes out in private more than it does out in the open in front of all the little kids. But Gen X, we all have a pact, an agreement with each other. We know what's going on. But we had to be sarcastic to be able to cope with this fucked up world that we live in. I had to learn to fight verbally when I was young so that I could make a bully cry and go home crying to his mom without having to punch him in the face. All I'd have to do is say something. I could just say some fucked up thing to a kid at school and they go home crying to mom. I had to learn that. I had to be vicious verbally. I wasn't I wasn't like the weakest kid, but I wasn't like the strongest kid either. And I learned to fight back verbally. I was a verbal assassin. I mean, obviously, it does. Most people who saw that I went to federal prison for a mean tweet, I could say, I would bet most people I grew up with aren't surprised by that. I could say that, no, I really don't think there were too many surprises there. Like, oh my God, not Adam. Of course he went to prison for a fucking tweet. You grew up with him. So yeah, the judge, when he sentenced me, he called me an internet bully. You're an internet bully. I'd love to read the transcripts again, but I am officially, according to the federal government, I am an internet bully who went to prison for that. But I learned it as a kid. Coping mechanism. We see the flaws in everything because, we watched it all fall apart when we were growing up. Chaos is just normal for us. That's why Gen X will be fine when there's a big crisis, because we're just like, yeah, we've seen that coming for 20 fucking years. So yeah, why do you think I keep putting food away? why do you think about a chest freezer and filled it full of steak when you could afford steak? Gen X, we distrust authority. The boomers, back to the boomers. Boom, got you again. All the boomers grew up watching the TV news. Walter Cronkite would never lie to me. He's got a very important sounding voice. Walter Cronkite would never tell me a lie. If Walter Cronkite says it's true, then it's true. Like they grew up believing all this fucking bullshit that they were told. If it was on TV, it must be true. How do you think that all these fucking companies, as seen on TV, all these dumbass things who do you think buys all that shit? Billy Mays here. I got this new thing, but wait, there's more. All that bullshit that they hawk on the TV. Who do you think bought it? Who do you think they sold it to? You think Gen Z bought that dumb shit because they saw it? The Gen Z don't watch TV. Gen Z, if it wasn't on YouTube, they didn't fucking see it. The boomers bought all that fucking dumb shit from the TV that Billy Mays and all those fucking people were selling them. Why? Because, well, it's on TV. It must be good. It must be true. Gen X, we knew it was bullshit. We talked about how it was all bullshit when we were kids watching our fucking parents fall for this shit. We knew it. We knew that our parents were fucking idiots when we were young. Look at this. Look at Grandma and Grandpa watching Walter Cronkite telling them that Lee Harvey Oswald shot JFK. We all knew. We knew when we were fucking 13 years old that he didn't shoot JFK. We knew not to believe anything you said. In fact, if you saw it on TV, it's probably bullshit. That's what we learned when we were growing up. We got to see the space shuttle explode on live TV in 4th grade. And then followed by all the, how do you know Krista McAuliffe had dandruff? Because there was Head and Shoulders all over the beach. Right? The teacher did not like that joke. She was a little pissed about that one, but we saw everybody, but then the Challenger astronauts, they're all out there. Look it up. They're all still alive. Fucking look this shit up, kids. It just took some time for them to show back up in public. They didn't even have to change their fucking names. They're all still there. That was all bullshit. It was fake. It was an act. It was a Hollywood production to scare everybody into not wanting to go to space anymore. We watched everybody die from AIDS, and then Magic Johnson comes along and says, I got AIDS too. It's 2026 and that motherfucker's still alive. Everybody who the fuck died from AIDS? Like, how did Magic Johnson get through that one? He's still got AIDS too. Everybody who got, oh, if you got AIDS, you're done. You die. Plus, it meant you were gay. Everybody who got AIDS was gay and dead. And then Magic Johnson got AIDS. Didn't fucking ruin his day. What the fuck? What did they? How did he win? How'd he get past that one? Bullshit. Our Gen X's bullshit detector went off day and night when Magic Johnson said he's got AIDS, and we're like, oh, he'll be dead in about 6 months. It's 2026. That motherfucker's still alive. Bullshit. 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 We grew up watching nothing but bullshit on TV, being told nothing but fucking lies. And now you wonder why we don't trust authority and we don't believe anything we're told, because we were lied to our whole fucking life while our parents handed us a key to the house, said, don't burn down the fucking house. We'll be home sometime next year. Like, what the fuck, dude? We don't even want to be in charge because we see what happens there. It's a lot of fucking work to be in charge. I just want to stay home and fucking do what I want. Let the world burn around me. I'll try to build a little bubble to live in while it's all happening out there, and just not give a fuck, because I don't anymore. I'll talk about it, but I really don't care anymore. Like, there were at the bakery, more than one Gen X person gets asked, do you want to be in charge? You can be the manager. You could be assistant manager or whatever. Nah, I'm good. Nobody wants that job. I want to come in and fucking make a bunch of cookies and go home. I don't want to fucking be in charge of nothing. You kidding me? I don't want to be in charge of shit. I don't want a job where I'm in charge of the whole fucking department. I just want to go in, get my paycheck, go home. That's Gen X. We don't give a fuck. We don't want to be in charge. Boomers, they fought tooth and nail to be in charge, to stomping on each other's throats, cutting their throats open, fighting tooth and nail to be the one for every rung of the ladder they climb. They're cutting throats for it. Gen X is like, nah, we're good. I don't know. Fuck. I want to climb a fucking ladder. I don't want to climb up there. I'm good down here. Leave me the fuck alone. We watched people mishandle power, crack under pressure. We see these people rise and then they fall. Look at Pee Wee Herman. He built an empire of children's television programming, and he was one of the richest performers that there was. Had his own Saturday morning children's show. Got caught jerking off in the fucking porno theater just one time. Boom, it's over, baby. Gen X, we don't want that. We don't want that. I don't want to be so fucking big and well known that if I get caught beating one out in the porno theater downtown, I'm going to lose my whole fucking career. I already know what it's like to lose your whole career over a mean tweet. So I don't need to be like nationwide children's programming, the highest paid actor on children's television, and have that level of humiliation. Granted, I mean, who the fuck would they used to have porno theaters, but back when he got caught, you could do that at home. You had Pee Wee Herman could afford a fucking VCR and a big TV. Like, he didn't have to go to the porno theater. Like back in like the 50s and the 60s, you had to go to the porno theater to watch some porno because that's the only way you could watch it. They didn't have, it wasn't like that shit was going to be on CBS or ABC after the nightly news, after Wheel of Fortune, some fucking porn. That didn't work like that. They didn't have videotapes and all that. You had to go to the fucking theater to see that shit. I could understand if that had happened to poor Pee Wee back in the 60s, but this was like in the fucking 90s, dude. We were watching Pee Wee Herman at home on video cassette tapes. He would still be remembered. He would have had like 6 more Pee Wee Herman movies. Pee Wee's Big Adventure, Big Top Pee Wee, Pee Wee Busts a Nut. Like, he would have had them all. He would have had them all. And he fucked that up. Gen X, we don't need that kind of fame and power. because it's just going to fall. We're one mean fucking tweet and it's all over. Look at Paula Dean, the fucking food empire. Then they found some fucking shit she wrote in someone's yearbook back in the 8th grade or some shit, some racist comment. I made more fucking racist comments on my live stream tonight than Paula Dean made when she was in the 8th grade. And she lost her whole fucking cooking empire and her TV show, and all her recipe books got burned by the liberals in the book burning parties. And she lost it all. Well, if you didn't have all that, you wouldn't be able to lose it. And you might be able to get away with saying some fucked up shit here and there. So I can say fucked up things now because I lost everything. I got nothing to lose now. So now I can make a racist joke on a YouTube stream, talk about the Whammo, the radio station in Pittsburgh that sponsored the Whammo all you can eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise when me and my date were the only white people on the boat, which was a true story. And this really happened. And it wasn't like I came up with the idea for, you know what would be really racist today? Let's get the Gateway Clipper boat and have them do an all you can eat chicken and ribs dinner cruise. Like Gen X, we don't give a fuck. Gen X, I could make black jokes to my black friends when we were Gen X and they didn't give a fuck. They'd make a honky joke in return and we'd all laugh and have a beer. Like nowadays, it shit's off the rails. Can't do that anymore. Leadership, Gen X, when we are in charge, we're not ego driven. It's just we're competent. We care about the outcome. We don't care how we get there. We don't care about the politics of how it's done. We just want to get it done and go home and enjoy our fucking lives for a minute because we're getting old and we're over it. We don't need the power struggle. I just want to get the job done, go home. I don't need politics. I don't need to be a politician. I don't need to move and shake and kiss the hands and shake the babies and all that. I just want to get it done. I don't care. Whatever we got to do. We're the quiet leaders. We don't need to be like all in charge and look at me. I'm in charge. I'm in charge. It's like that dude in Batman. When he went up to Bane, he's like, I'm in charge, goddammit. And Bane just looks at him. He's like, oh, do you think you're in charge? Like, that's Gen X. Bane was probably Gen X. He's like, oh, yeah, you're in charge. Yeah. Keep telling yourself that. Bane was in charge, and he didn't go around telling everybody he was in charge. He just was in charge. He was definitely Gen X. Batman was Gen X. In those movies, in the Christian Bale Batman movies, Batman was definitely Generation X too. They were both Gen X. They acted like it. They didn't get offended by shit. They just did shit. You don't need to run the room to feel secure. You just run shit because you do. That's what you do. You're not doing it to show off. You're just doing it because that's what you are. But like I said, we had to raise ourselves. We didn't have parents. It was kind of like that. It was kind of like that place where they sent Pinocchio when they turned him into a donkey or whatever. That's how we were raised. No parents, just sent to fucking Coney Island. Don't burn the place down. Here's a fucking key. Here's some lunch money. Fuck off. That was us. I used to be my friends. We'd get together and get on our bicycles, and we'd go on a 30-mile fucking bicycle ride away from home, go swimming in a fucking burned out quarry with a bunch of old fucking cars and shit buried underwater. And when the cops showed up to kick us out, we'd flee into the woods, and then we'd ride our bikes home at night. And our parents still wouldn't be home, so they had no idea what the fuck we were doing all day. That's what these fucking millennials, they sit at home in front of a fucking computer all day. They don't even go outside. Like, have you ever seen a Gen Z kid go outside? They don't even know what a fucking tree is, these kids. It's something they see out the window when they're driving around in their parents' car. Sarcasm. But yeah, I mean, Gen X is, everybody's like me. Every Gen X I know is just like me. We have some of us are louder than others, but we're all the same in our hearts. Our cold black hearts are all the same. But anyway, I think I could go on and on about this, but we're 3 hours and 24 minutes in. And so now I guess it's a good time for the plugs. We got 8. It tells me there's 8 people still watching. So if you want to check out the links. Oh, Alex, I saw Alex. Oh, Alex and Analog. Mother, perfect timing. Just about to peace out. And so I'm going to give Alex and Analog a big shout out if you're still here, because we were in the members only stream yesterday, and he's one of the awesome channel members. And he was like, "Hey, did you get yourself a pair of hiking boots yet?" And I guess this is a good time for the plugs. And I was like, "No, I'll get some hiking boots. I'm not in a big hurry for that, but I have been going on these 7-mile hikes, and it's all sand around here, and so I'm constantly getting sand in my hike. And I've got hiking sneakers, and they get full of sand and whatnot." Well, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to hit up your chicken bucket, your digital chicken bucket, which is at donate.litgood.com." And he was like, "Here, I want you to go get us fucking set of hiking boots." And so I did that. Alex, fucking awesome channel member, Alex, threw money in the digital chicken bucket, and he gets a shout out for that, because that was, I mean, these boots aren't really that cheap. And I had, like I said, I wasn't like in a hurry. I wasn't like planning on doing that anytime soon, to be honest. But I got myself, well, I saw that donation show up yesterday, and I'm like, if I get the hiking boots that he specifically said I need to go get, then that would be like, that would be a disservice to an awesome channel member. So I ordered, since that money dropped into my account today, I ordered the Keen Duran 2 hiking boots from Amazon. These are the same boots that I had the day I turned homeless. And I got 500 miles on pavement out of these Mamba Jambas. These are some solid hiking boots. I mean, for the amount of walking and hiking, and these won't be my daily wears like they used to be in the past. A set of Keen Durand hiking boots. These are like some of the most rugged hiking boots you can buy. And these Mamba Jambas, these things will, I mean, honestly, I could get 5 years out of these if they weren't like my daily wear everyday shoes. And I've got other shoes. I'm in Houston, I'm where it's warm. I wear Crocs more than anything else right now. I used to hate Crocs, and they're prison shoes. It's basically, they basically took prison shoes and turned them into trendy footwear. But I wear them a lot. I go grocery shopping in my Crocs. I wear Crocs a lot. Basically, if I don't care what I look like today and I'm out in public, I got a pair of Crocs on, because bending over to tie some shoes is too much work. But when I go hiking now, I'm going to have me a badass pair of hiking boots, and they'll be here tomorrow. So shout out to Alex Analog for that. But if y'all want to buy me some shit, donate.litgood.com. You can find all my links in the pinned link in the chat, links.litgood.com. I sell photography. I do all kinds of stuff. I'm dabbling in this and that and the other thing. And anything I'm doing will be on that link. And it leads to all the things I do. So thank you for that. Big shout out there. But I decided I'm like, I'm getting the boots. But that actually, like God, when we were talking about Jesus calling today and how God's got our back, right? I didn't finish the story. This will be the last thing I do today. This is not the first time somebody has dropped a random drop in the chicken bucket where I was like, oh my God, that like, boom, like something. There are days when I worry about, how am I going to get through the next month? How am I going to get through this when I moved into this place right here? I didn't know how I was going to pay for it all. And so like Sunday, normally I'm sending a client that I'm working for right now, and I'm working for him every week. I add up all the hours and I bill him on Sunday, and I'm allowed to work 30 hours. So I try to do 30 hours. Well, last week I was short, and Sunday I just didn't have the energy to do all 30 hours. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to bill him for what I did. And I included hours that I did on Tuesday in the invoice. So that'll be subtracted from this week's invoice. But anyway, I was behind. And all of my calculations for the month hinged on me getting a full invoice out the door every Sunday night for the whole month to, survive. And then I was like, oh, man, how am I going to do this? And so I'm doing the live stream last night, which was Tuesday night. I did get the invoice out and I got paid for that today. But it was, like I said, it was short. And then Alex shows up and he's like, oh, I just dropped some bones in your chicken bucket out of nowhere. Wasn't like I wasn't begging for, I didn't do any plugs yesterday. He's just like, hey, here's some money in your chicken bucket. And that that basically made up for the money I didn't bill out. So everything's back to the way it's supposed to be and God will provide. I have to keep knowing that. So I got all upset about something today with probation, and it wasn't anything that actually happened. It was just my paranoia and my anxieties and stuff, which if you were in my shoes, you would not be able to stop that from happening from time to time. It's just part of the game. I guarantee you every single person on federal probation has been in a panic at some point, just randomly thinking in the middle of a random day, what could they send me back to prison for this week? You know what I mean? That's just going to happen. And so it was a kind of like a combination of that. But like I said, Monday at the bakery, I was like, man, I'm going to be paying the price for not doing those hours and not getting my invoice up to what it was supposed to be. And blah, even though I did other things and I was still productive, I didn't do that. And I was beating myself up over that. And then random awesome channel member shows up and he's like, just out of the blue, like, hey, go buy yourself some boots. And so financially, it just switched back over. And so another example of that, I'll give you this example here, that thing there, that silver thing behind me, the chrome thing, is a water filter, gravity water filter. When I was living in that beat up old tool shed, the water was awful. You would not drink the water there. Bad. And so I had to get a water filter, and it wasn't like cheap. It was probably a couple $100, somewhere in that range. Berkey water filter would have been like 400 something. This was like ranked second place to the Berkey, and it was a couple hundred. It was China Berkey, not made in the USA, so it costs a little less. I would actually say that the container itself, the build on that is better than a big Berkey. But I don't know about the filters. But you can put Berkey filters in that. But that's where all the cost is. But anyway, I got to get a water filter. And I was a little bit like, funds were tight. And I'm like, how am I going to pay my rent if I do that? God will find a way. God probably doesn't want me to drink dirty water. Like, it is for a good cause. It's not like I'm going out and spending my money on hookers and blow and crack and weed and all that. It's not like I'm wasting my water filter. Water's the liquid of life, right? That's what they say. And so I go out and I buy. So I finally just caved in. I'm like, I need good water. I can't be I had to carry a backpack on a back, hike to the grocery store. If I filled my backpack full of bottled water, that would last like 2 days and it would weigh 60 pounds. So I had to get a water filter. And when I got it, so I bought the water filter and was wondering, how am I going to pay for this? And I kid you not, an hour and a half after I bought the water filter, I get an email that says some channel, somebody who watches my channel dropped $200 in my chicken bucket. That paid for the water filter. It was almost the exact amount of money that I spent on the water filter. The money left my bank account, and the next morning the money was right back in the bank as if it never skipped a beat, except for a water filter was on the way. And it like I didn't ask for that. It wasn't like it was just a random dude. I mean, I could look back and know exactly who it was. I'm not, I'm not going to yell it out. Whoever it is could be watching right now. But somebody dropped money in that chicken bucket just randomly on a Tuesday night, an hour to an hour and a half after I bought the water filter. And I cringed because I'm like, oh, I can't really afford this, but I got to do it. I'll figure out a way. And then boom, the money was right back. Like the next morning when I woke up, the money was in my checking account back because an hour after I bought the water filter, someone put the money right back in. And this doesn't happen like every day. This like really comes out. This is like out of the blue stuff. And so another guy, he knows who he is if he ever watches this. There were back in the day, somebody was trying to give me a car. Like all I would have to do is pay for it to be shipped here, but somebody was trying to give me a free car. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'll figure out how to pay for that and whatnot. Well, one of the channel members threw enough money at me through the chicken bucket to pay for the car to be shipped here. And I was like, dude, hell yeah. But then I was in that emergency situation where I had to move. I had until the end of May. And this happened in May. That guy came out, he sent me money to have the car shipped here, wanting to help brother out. But I also had to move at the end of the month. So unfortunately, the money got used for me to move. So, I mean, it was I don't feel like I did wrong by doing that. It helped me move, and it helped me move with a peace of mind. Like without that donation, I would not have been able to move comfortably, and it would have been a nightmare. It would have been struggle. I would have had to live in an empty place for several weeks without anything at all, just boxes everywhere. And like, it helped me it helped me pay for the U-Haul, the move, the security deposit, like just all that kind of stuff. It helped smooth it out. That's the best way to put it. Because I had two different jobs paying me. So it wasn't like I had no money. But what that did was take a very uncomfortable situation that was stressing me out like crazy, and it turned into a very smooth and comfortable transition. And all because some dude just randomly dropped money in the chicken bucket. And then after I got settled in here, I was talking to the guy through email about figuring out how to get the car sent here, because now now that I'm moved, I could have that car sent here. And then, as some of you know, I had just a random stroke of luck where a phantom check showed up out of the blue and just literally fell out of the sky into my lap, from Jesus Christ himself, I swear. And instead of having a car shipped to me in unknown condition and all that, and just, taking a risk, I was able to just go out and buy a car. And it wasn't an expensive car. And so far, I've had to take that car to the mechanic one time so far. It was a doozy. It wasn't a cheap fix, and it was very stressful. But in every single time I get in that car to this day, I pray, I thank God. I'm like, before I turn the key, the first thing I say is, thank you, God, for providing me with this car. I appreciate it so much. I appreciate what it's been able to do for my life, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But today, like that thing that Alex, you dropped that bones in my chicken bucket. Like these things, like you don't know what's going on this side of the camera when the camera's off. And I kid you not, I was saying to myself all day Monday, oh, money's going to be tight this week because your invoice was a little short. And then you show up the next day and it's pretty much the amount that it was short. Like it balanced out when my deposits were made from the chicken bucket and the invoice being paid. It was like I didn't skip a beat. And so I'm like, well, definitely got to get those boots, because that's what he did that. It's not like it wasn't like I was in a desperate situation where I can't get the boots. but I wasn't planning on doing that. I wasn't going to get those boots for at least a few more months. I was thinking about it, and I was actually thinking about a different pair. But then when you did that, I was like, well, let's get the boots. And Alex said, he's like, well, if everything falls apart and we're in a dystopian collapsed society and you have to get away from Houston, you're going to need a pair of boots that you can make it. And I know I can go 500 miles and a brand new pair of Keen hiking boots before the treads wear off. And if I stick to some dirt and some off-road trails, I could probably get 1,000 miles out of those before they quit. So, I mean, I could probably walk to Pittsburgh with a pair of those boots if I had to go back and see my kids on foot. So, I mean, I could do it with the Keen hiking boots. I couldn't do it with the New Balance shoes I've been wearing. They'd fall apart in about 200 miles. So I'd be barefooting it the rest of the way. So thank you for that once again. And so links.litgood.com, donate. But honestly, if you throw a thumbs up on the video and, watch for some of the other videos that I'm going to start posting here and there, a thumbs up is cool with me. That means a lot, because we got to get rid of the shadow ban if we want more people to come to the party, And with that, I'm just going to say thanks for coming. Peace out. And I'm going to end this now. See you at the next party.